Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes,
Anytime you can pick up a victory, it's a good day. And the Bats gave the Bombers a lot to celebrate on Sunday. Well, why stop at just one win when you can grab two? J.C. Escarra's first career homer helped finish off a twin bill sweep against the Jays. Now it's on to another American League East rival as the New York Yankees begin a series with the Baltimore Orioles on a Monday night at Camden Yards in Maryland. We hope you're having a great night as we welcome you to the FanDuel Yankees pregame. Bob Lorenz, John Flaherty, Jack Curry with you first at 3. Yanks come in with that doubleheader Sunday sweep. Meantime, the Orioles lost to the Tigers over the weekend. It was a sweep there, so they come in 10-17. Let's get your Hyundai opening comment.
Bob, I'm going all the way back to the start of the 24 season. Everyone was saying, how are the Yankees going to make up the gap between themselves and the Orioles? And the Yankees did that, and they made it all the way to the World Series. Now it's about the Orioles trying to make up a gap on the Yankees. And as you talked about, it's been a sluggish start for them. The Yankees can send a message, or whatever kind of message you can send in April during this series, by pushing the Orioles back a little deeper in those standings, making them feel uncomfortable. They've got the third worst record in the majors.
Jack, you can definitely send a message at the end of April that we're the best team in the American League East. And if you're the Yankees, how do you do that? Well, you ride the wave, Bob. You mentioned they swept that doubleheader yesterday. They scored 16 runs in both of those games, or total of 16 in both of those games. And to Jack's point, they're going against a team and a pitching staff that is 28th in Major League Baseball, the rotation for Baltimore. So if you're going to show up at Camden Yards, a great place to hit against a pitching staff and a rotation that has been struggling, you definitely need to ride that momentum into this series.
Well, let's find out what is happening at Camden Yards right now. Meredith Marakovich standing by with the Clubhouse Report presented by your local Ford stores. And Meredith, we can talk all we want about records and where these two teams are at right now. When it comes to playing a division rival, it's a little something different. So that sort of sets the tone for the first of 3 tonight.
Well, Bob, you look at this Orioles team, and both the pitching and the hitting, as you've already discussed a little bit, has been pretty dreadful for them. They've lost 6 out of their last 7, and they've been outscored 53-12 during that span. They're now 7 games under 500 on the season. That is the first time they've been 7 games under 500 on the season since July of 2022. But, Bob, you said it. They are AL East opponents. They know that they're going to play the Yankees tough, and Aaron Boone said earlier, even though they're struggling, they know at any point in time this team has enough talent to snap out of it.
They're going through it right now, but you don't realize also how dangerous they are. Especially the talent they're going to run out, the offensive capability they have, the ability to in the bullpen to shut down a game if they can get it there. So, that's just the ebb and flows of the season. We understand how good they can be.
They made some changes to the dimensions again in the outfield. What do you think of the new look again this year?
Yeah, well, we build the park. It seems a little better, a little more, yeah.
Lower.
Yeah.
In a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems a little less quirky, I guess. So, still a beautiful ballpark, obviously. So, always fun coming here and staying in the Inner Harbor. We always enjoy playing here.
Will Warren on the mound. Last time out against the Guardians, he said that might have been a lineup with all the lefties in it that might have intimidated him in the past. Just how much growth have you seen even from start to start when it comes to Warren?
Yeah, it was a great test for him, and thought he threw the ball well, really well, and just I think. What he's been seeing and what we've been seeing is as he's added to his arsenal and continued to develop his arsenal, he does have ways to navigate that. I thought he did a great job of it. This is another lineup that, even with some of their struggles early, they've still been really good against right-handed pitching, so they provide you some challenges. So execution will be the key for them.
And I caught up with pitching coach Matt Blake to talk about Will Warren going this evening. And he said one thing that he really liked against the Guardians, he was extremely aggressive in the zone. He felt like during that Tampa Bay game before that, he was nibbling a little bit. He said he went to him and said, "You are successful when you pound the strike zone. Here are the numbers to prove it." And his fastball has played well for him so far this season. Opposing hitters batting just 125 against that pitch, league average 243. They are hoping that Will Warren takes another step in the right direction. As far as the Yankees lineup is concerned, Ben Rice has the evening off. Austin Wells is back in there. He'll catch Will Warren tonight. Also noteworthy, Oswaldo Cabrera has the evening off. It'll be Oswald Peraza in there at third base. We'll go back to pitching for a second. That doubleheader that the Yankees swept yesterday, they were great all the way around, both starters and relievers. There were only 3 relievers for the Yankees that were not used in that one. Devin Williams, Ian Hamilton, and Ryan Yarborough. Speaking of Williams, we learned prior to Game 1 that they would be using him not exclusively as the closer anymore, in more low-leverage situations as they try to get him right on the mound. He spoke after Game 2 about the change in role.
With the way things have gone recently, it's not really a shock to me, you know. Being the closer is a position you have to earn, you know, and you have to keep earning it to continue to be in that role. So lately I haven't been doing that.
Are you disappointed?
I mean, yeah, it's disappointing, you know. You work for years to get to that point, and yeah, to have that taken away from you, it's not a fun feeling at all, but I can't say it's undeserved.
I don't think that's any player's favorite thing to do, is to get up in front of a bunch of media when you've had some struggles, and you obviously you're it's a story, and you got to face that, especially for someone that's had as much success as he's had.
And Devin Williams went on to say he is dedicated to getting himself right on the mound. He was asked about his changeup in particular. He said he doesn't feel as though that pitch is that different than it was when he had tremendous success with it, but hitters are responding differently, and they need to figure out why. Matt Blake telling me they fully believe that he is going to be pitching high-leverage games, high-leverage situations again this season. They don't know the timeline, but they still have a tremendous amount of belief in Devin Williams' ability. It's time now for the Morgan & Morgan injury report. We will keep it with pitching. Jonathan Loizaga started his rehab assignment. Aaron Boone saying that they'd like him to go back-to-back games before bringing him back up here. He's still a couple weeks away, but that would be another big arm for that Yankees bullpen. Also noteworthy, Marcus Stroman, who was thought to only be out a short while. Aaron Boone saying he is playing catch, but there hasn't been much more progress aside from that. He's still feeling some discomfort in his knee, so they're trying to get that out. He's had several injections. He was having some issues with the nerve in his knee and his leg, so they're going to keep an eye on that and try to get him right. And also noteworthy, Giancarlo Stanton stayed back in New York. He's continuing to hit off the traject machine, up the running a little bit, and trying to up the conditioning a little bit. No timeline on him on when he might start a rehab assignment, Bob.
Meredith, thank you for that. Look forward to seeing you in just a bit with Michael, with Joe, and with David. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup for today's ballgame. It's brought to you by Toyota. And for Aaron Judge, during his 24-game on-base streak, he's hitting .407 with 4 homers and 16 runs batted in. Trent Grisham back in the leadoff spot today. He's homered in 3 of his last 4. And as Meredith mentioned, Oswald Peraza getting a rep at third base, batting 9th. A check of the Orioles starting lineup, also courtesy of Toyota, where the O's have lost. They're 10-17. They're 0-for-9 yesterday against the Tigers in a loss, and they're batting 100 with runners in scoring position over their last 7 games. One bright spot, their leadoff hitter, Cedric Mullins, his OBP, OPS, and walks are all top 3 in the American League this season. Well, coming up next on the FanDuel Yankees pregame, it's the latest installment of Curry's commentary. We turn things over to Jack for some thoughts on Aaron Judge's growing legendary status. Keep it here on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is presented by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. This is brought to to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
Aaron Judge stands tall in the batter's box, tall and regal and majestic. His eyes are serious and focused. He always looks ready to hit and ready to do remarkable things. Quite often, he does. As I've watched Judge destroy baseballs and compile video game numbers for the Yankees, I've pondered this question. Does everyone truly appreciate and understand what we're watching? We should. Judge is a future Hall of Famer entertaining us every night. 2 weeks ago, I visited the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York. Because of the kindness of some Hall of Fame officials, I had the chance to hold some precious memorabilia. While wearing white gloves, I gripped Babe Ruth's bat. It was a brown Louisville Slugger, and it included George, his real name, in the inscription. The bat wasn't as heavy as I expected it would be, but that's because I expected it to weigh as much as an ashtray. As I held Babe Ruth's bat, I had so many thoughts ping-ponging in my head. Did he use this bat to hit any of his 714 homers? I also reflected on the uncanny statistic that Ruth shared with Judge. Through their first 1,000 games with the Yankees, both hit exactly 321 home runs. When Babe was blasting homers at an unprecedented pace, did those fans truly know what they were watching? Of course they did. Ruth hit more homers in a season than entire teams. It was impossible to not grasp how legendary he was. Do you want more Ruth and Judge connections? Judge's career OPS is over 1,000. Only Ruth and a gentleman named Lou Gehrig are ahead of him on the Yankees list. Here's more. Judge once told me he prepared by watching videotape of historic hitters. That included Ruth. As I witnessed one off-season workout, Judge explained how he goes into the cage to eliminate ugly swings. There haven't been many of those this season. Judge also described the importance of remaining anchored on his back hip longer. When Judge does that, it allows him to keep his bat in the zone longer and provides a better chance to do damage. It's been a memorable start for Judge. The early steps toward winning back-to-back MVPs and adding more luster to a tremendous resume. In spring training, Judge said he and the Yankees were motivated to rewrite the script from last year's World Series. And if Judge keeps performing like a modern-day Ruth, and the Yankees are the last team standing in 2025, Judge will stand even taller.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Spring is the season for new beginnings, and it's the best time to get behind the wheel of a sophisticated new Cadillac SUV. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today. The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by EEP Law. Counsel that cares. Results that matter.
Hey Yankees fans, I'm News 12 meteorologist Alan Issa with your game day forecast as the Yanks are heading down to Camden Yards, and it's a beauty. 70s at first pitch, and let's bring that win streak along as well to Baltimore. Make it 3 in a row with this weather. You cannot complain this time of year. Barely a cloud in the sky, and that southeast wind will actually help the ball carry a little bit more out toward left field. Again, it's a refreshing feel out there for this evening. What's your moodcast? Let us know on our socials, and let's go Yankees. Back to you.
All season long here on Yes, we want to invite you viewers to show us the different ways you support the Bronx Bombers. Use the QR code on screen with a hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride and post pictures to social media that reflect your love for the Yankees. We might spotlight you in a future game. Pinstripe Pride is brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. We heard the weather forecast. Wind could be going out to left field. Now, this is the original dimensions of Camden Yards, and John Flaherty will tell you Made hitters happy.
The best place to hit ever, Bob. The old Camden Yards. Then they went through the renovation where they moved the fences back. But if you think about the old place, great hitter's eye. It always seemed to be warm there. They didn't have a great pitching staff. And if you got the ball into left field, you had a chance for a home run. Now, this is what they did this year. I would say you get the ball up in the air to left field, Jack, you're going to have a chance for a home run again.
They did an analysis with the remodeled version. They lost about 46 homers per season. Now they're saying going back to these dimensions, you're kind of almost meeting in the middle. They think they're going to add about 29 homers. Bob, John actually hit there. I can tell you, though, in talking to hitters, they salivated when they got a chance to go to Camden Yards. Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, everyone loved the prospect of hitting there. I think they're going to like it a little more in 2025 with these changes.
You know, we talked about it, too, though. You think about all the hitters who loved hitting there. How about the pitchers who did not enjoy pitching there? It makes Mike Mussina's accomplishment, ending up in the Hall of Fame, pitching for 6 years in that park as his home stadium, how impressive that is to put up the numbers that he did. But again, I think to Jack's point, the renovations this year kind of bring it back to the middle. If you make good pitches, there are a lot of room down the left field line. If you make a bad pitch, it gets hit to left center, has a chance of going out.
Also got that funky little cutout, so that could come into play on doubles or if the ball's sailing low. Let's talk about Will Warren getting the ball for the Yanks tonight. He'll try and keep the ball in the ballpark. Jack done a pretty good job of that lately. In fact, his last 3 starts allowed a total of just 5 earned runs.
I thought it was terrific in his last start. You see how good the fastball has been this season, though it's only an average velo of 93. I think it gets on hitters at a higher velocity because of his extension. He pitched into the 6th inning in his last start, and Flash, I just think we saw a pitcher who was more aggressive and more in attack mode.
I agree with you, Jack. And when we watch Warren pitch, he passes the eye test from a stuff perspective, right? I think the fastball plays, the sweeper plays, but the biggest adjustment for a young pitcher, proving to themselves that they can pitch at this level and pitch in the strike zone. To Jack's point, I think his last outing against Cleveland, he rebounded from that start against Tampa Bay where he was pitching to the edges and off. Against Cleveland, here's my best stuff in the zone, and he had a quality outing.
Well, let's take a look at some numbers by StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud on the Orioles starter tonight, Tomoyuki Sugano, in his first season with the team. And, Jack, you talk about these kind of pitchers, kitchen sink kind of guy, 6 pitches, mixes them in pretty evenly, but the splitter, the one he throws the most, actually getting hit around a little bit.
Yeah, the splitter, the batting average against it is better than 300, but it's a pitch that he wants to throw more than any other. And you look at the numbers underneath, Bob, those are the batting averages, but in 28 innings this year, he's only walked 5, which is terrific, so he's going to be around the plate. He's only struck out 9, so this is a guy who does not have the ability to get swing and miss stuff, coming over from Japan in his first year. And I just think the Yankee offense, if you look back at what they did in that inning against Gausman yesterday, when he didn't throw strikes or wasn't around the plate, they didn't swing. It resulted in a 53-pitch inning. I'm not saying that that is going to happen tonight, but I am saying that Sugano had better be at his craftiest because I actually think that this matchup bodes well for the Yankees.
Jack, you just detailed all of the numbers, right? All the pitches, the velocities, the batting average against. The biggest number for me, when you throw 92 miles an hour with your fastball, it doesn't really add a whole lot of separation for the split and all these sweepers and the other pitches. So if you're a major league hitter, the Yankee lineup tonight, 92 is not even going to get your attention. You can sit back and wait for that ball to come and recognize a split, a sweeper, maybe a fastball or a 2-seamer. You don't have to do anything early. That bodes really well for the Yankee lineup. And Jack just detailed, he doesn't walk anybody. He's going to throw the ball over the plate. Be ready to hit. Don't worry about velocity. Just make sure you're not trying to do too much and pull middle of the field. The home runs will take care of themselves.
The power alley to left center.
Power alley
tonight?
to left centers. That's the place to hit it.
Let's take one last break on the FanDuel Yankees pregame. When we come back, we'll get the guys' keys to the game for the series opener between the Yanks and Orioles. So stick around on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
The Yankees pregame show on Yes is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com. The Yankees brought to you in part by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
It's time for the pregame odds segment presented by FanDuel. The Bombers are in Baltimore to start a series against their AL East rivals. For a same-game parlay, let's go with Aaron Judge to record at least 3 total bases, birthday boy Anthony Volpe to celebrate with 2+ hits, and Will Warren to strike out 4 or more. That parlay comes in at plus 875. Right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
Got you for a couple more minutes before we get you out to Camden Yards for tonight's game. Game 1 of 3 between the Yanks and O's. We've set the table. Let's get your Kia key to the game.
My Kia key to the game is Aaron Judge against the Birds. Since 2017, Aaron Judge has played 101 games against Baltimore. That's a .321 average, 45 home runs, 96 RBIs, and has scored 101 runs. Not going out on a limb tonight. I think he's going to have a big 3 games in Baltimore.
And I'm going to switch over to pitching in terms of having a key, and it's about Will Warren. I think Will Warren needs to take the 6th. By that, I mean get into the 6th inning as you did in your last start. Aaron Boone had a choice in his last start. After 5 innings, he could have said, I'm going to the bullpen. He gave Warren the baseball, and though it didn't work out, that's how young pitchers get better.
So you're keeping an eye on Judge. We've seen better swings lately from Anthony Volpe as well.
Anthony Volpe has cleaned it up against that series against Toronto. You can noticeably tell that that front hip is in. The home run that he drove the ball to right field, you're starting to see results. Happy birthday, Anthony Volpe, by the way. But the adjustments, Jack, from in-season, from series to series, Volpe's making them.
It's amazing how different he looks after an off day. He had the day off. He probably studied some videotape. He goes into that hitting laboratory. 5 for his last 10. I find it noticeable that 4 of the 5 hits against hard stuff, 4-seamers and 2-seamers.
3 wide on the set, 3 wide in the booth. It's Michael Kay, David Cohn, Joe Girardi with a call. Meredith Morakovitz reporting. The 3 of us will see you on the postgame. Have a great night and enjoy the ball game. Coming up next on Yes and the Gotham Sports app.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
It's a gorgeous day here in Baltimore. Great way to start this series. Now, a lot of Yankee fans making their way to the ballpark. They turn Baltimore into another South Bronx for sure. And they and you know it is time for baseball. As the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Baltimore Orioles in the first of 3 from Oriole Park in Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Joe Girardi and David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay, where the Yankees just swept a doubleheader against the Blue Jays, so they come in here feeling pretty good about themselves. And a guy who really feels a lot better after that 3-game set against Toronto is Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, he sure does. He was 5 for 10 with 3 extra base hits, drove in a couple runs. And what I love seeing about this, Michael, he was using the whole field. You're going to see this double in the 7th inning on Friday night to start that rally, and the Yankees tied it up 1-1. And then he doubles off of Kevin Gausman in the left center gap. He's going gap to gap, and he's going to finish in the 7th with a solo home run. I love that he's using the whole field, and whenever you see a player using the whole field, you feel that they're going right.
Joe mentioned the 5 for 10, 2 doubles, a home run, 2 ribbies, 3 runs scored in his previous 17 games, hitting 138. Well, the Orioles are struggling. We'll get into that once the game begins, but we'll take a look now at the Home Depot getting it done pitching matchup. Young Will Warren will get the start for the Yankees, and for the Orioles, it's Tomoyuki Sugano. Tell me something about Sugano, David.
Well, Sugano had a decorated career in Japan. He won 3 MVP awards and 2 Sawamura awards, which is their version of the Cy Young Award. At this point in his career, though, much more of a control artist than he used to be. He used to throw the ball 98 miles an hour. Now, probably about 92, but he's an excellent athlete, fields his position well, and throws a ton of strikes.
Let's take a look at the Mohegan Sun team scouting report on the Orioles. It's not been good for the Orioles. Their rotation has not done the job. They've lost 6 of 7, during which time they've been outscored 53-12. And one of the few Orioles doing the job, Cedric Mullins, going to be a free agent at the end of the year. .421 on base percentage, .967 OPS for the veteran center fielder. Oriole Park at Camden Yards is the personal playpen of that man. Aaron Judge loves hitting here against the Orioles. The numbers jump off the screen. He's that good. Lineups, first pitch, baseball, next on Yes. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com. By Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. And by Hyundai, with a brand new Hyundai, there's joy in every journey. Orioles and the Yankees have beautiful Camden yards, opened in 1992, and looks as good today as it did when it opened. It just has lasting power. A gorgeous ballpark. Orioles are taking the field. We'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. Trent Grisham in center. Aaron Judge in right. Cody Bellinger will play left and bat third. Middle third of the order, Goldschmidt, Chisholm, and Volpe. At the bottom third, Wells, Dominguez, and Peraza. Will Warren will make his first career start against the Orioles.
And here is the Yankees' first look at Tomoyuki Sugano, 35-year-old pitcher that came over from Japan, signed on a one-year deal. You see the numbers there. The good news is he only walks 5. The bad news is he only struck out 9. So that's kind of the story with him. And a little bit more as we check out the Nissan Pitcher Scouting Report. An award-winning career. We mentioned it on the pregame. I mean, this guy's all over the map. Gold Glove Awards, MVP Awards, Cy Young Awards, command of 6 different pitches. He really picks off the edges, pitches to the corners, and he really relies on weak contact, as we showed. He doesn't strike out a lot of hitters at this point in his career.
Take a look at the defense behind him. It's Laureano in left, and Mullins in center, and Kerstad is over and right. It's Farias, Henderson, Holiday, and Mountcastle. That's third to first. Rushman behind the plate. Ryan O'Hearn is the DH. Yankees come in at 17-11. The Orioles just got swept by Detroit. They were outscored 17-5. And on the season, they are 10-17. I should say a disappointing 10-17. Grisham is ready. Sugano is ready. And let's do it here in Baltimore. First pitch, a strike, and we're underway. Ryan Addington, the home plate umpire. Ryan Willis at first. Crew chief Lance Barksdale at second. Will Little is over at third. Grisham led off game in the doubleheader with a home run yesterday. Yankees have had 5 leadoff home runs this year. 2 of those leadoff home runs by Trent Grisham.
How about the start that he's off to? The 7 home runs in 22 games, where he only had 9 in 74 games last year. And he's hitting the ball extremely hard, and he's striking out less. But what I love about him this year, he's been much more aggressive on the first pitch. He's always worked counts and had a good eye, but it seemed like he was always 0-2, 1-2 because he took the first pitch. He's been dangerous.
2-1. 3-1 on Grisham. On deck is Aaron Judge. And Sugano deals. 3-2.
Yeah, you see this leadoff home run yesterday. I mean, he's hitting the ball and he's pulling the ball and he's getting it in the air, and it's made a big difference for his season. I love his aggressiveness this year, and it's really paying off.
Yeah, the point of contact on his average is so much further out in front of home plate now. Right to your point, Joe. That's about being more aggressive.
Here's the payoff. Tap slowly back to Sugano. Good fielder. Makes a perfect throw to Mountcastle. Round number 1. Time for the keys to the game, brought to you by your local Kia dealers.
Well, the O's are all right. I know we've talked about they've struggled offensively, but it's really been against left-handers. They're 30th in OPS against left-handers, but 5th versus right-handed pitching, so don't take them lightly tonight. The early birds, you got to get to Sugano early. 1 through 25 pitches, a 939 OPS. The next 25, 736. 51 through 75 pitches, 523. So he really gets it going. And oh no, they have been struggling. So the pressure is on them. They have not been hitting with runners in scoring position. They are 6 for their last 60. They're 1-6 in those games, and they've only scored 12 runs. So if you're Will Warren, take advantage of their aggressiveness because they're not walking either. Make them beat you.
1-0 to Judge, and he wraps that one to left field. It is a base hit. A 400 man stays above that magic mark with a single here in the first.
You know, I start thinking, after I watched him all last year, could he get any better? And I'm starting to, he's getting better. I mean, his contact, the strikeout rate, his ability to hit for average, it's absolutely amazing. And you know when you're swinging the bat so well, you're going to go on a home run tear. Yeah. He's going to drop a 12 or 14 in a month here pretty soon, and you're going to see him up at 20 before you know it.
Here's Cody Bellinger. Judge held it first by Mountcastle. Big cut by Bellinger, 0-1.
So, Coney, you watch Sugano. He extends his left arm, the one with the glove, towards home plate, and then he tucks it really quickly. But it seems like he's always on line. His balance is incredible, which probably allows him to throw so many strikes and have such great command.
Yeah, of all his pitches, too. Yeah, you're right. It's sort of like a marksman, right? Or shooting a bow and arrow. Alignment is everything.
Well, last year with the Yomiuri Giants, he was 15-3, 1.67.
Look at how under control he is when he releases the ball and how he finishes. That tells you a lot about his control, the way he lands so softly.
Yeah, when you have that many pitches, does it take you sometimes, because I talked about you got to get him early, to find all those pitches and what you have right away? I mean, when you have 6 pitches, you're throwing over 10% of the time. That's quite a mix.
It is a mix, and he throws them all for strikes. That's what makes him remarkable.
3-1. Let's take a look at his arsenal on StatCast 3D by Google Cloud.
A lot of guys say they have 6 pitches, but they don't throw 6 pitches as much as he does. And to Joe's point, you know, all of those are 13% or more, so it is a truly unpredictable mix.
And there's a walk of Bellinger, so first and second with 1 man out. That'll bring up Paul Goldschmidt. Take a look at the home plate umpire. For some reason, we are giving the scouting report on the first base umpire, Ryan Wills, and he's hitter friendly. Fewer high strikes, fewer outside strikes.
So what you're telling me is you're going to see the base runners buttering him up tonight at first base.
That's the way it works.
Knowing that he's hitter friendly.
See, we're 3D ahead of the scouting report. Here's Paul Goldschmidt hitting .365. Now, Aaron Boone was asked today, you know, he's hitting .365, but why just 1 home run? He said, I think the home runs will come. He's been very situational in the way he hits, and he will hit his share of home runs.
And he's a guy that really lets the ball get deep.
Yes.
And I think that's why you've seen his strikeout rate come down, his average go up. In the air has went up because he lets the ball get so deep.
More than anybody in the big leagues as measured by StatCast.
Yeah.
His point of contact almost on home plate, which is so rare.
But we've seen on a number of occasions his ability to drive the ball to right field, to shoot that hole between first and second. And hitting in these type of situations is really important. You don't always have to have a home run, and he's been really good in them. How good? He's hitting .435 with runners in scoring position.
And guys, I talked to hitting coach James Rowson about not seeing the power from Goldschmidt to start the season, and he said he is so locked in at the plate, he shouldn't worry about that right now. As it gets warmer, as he continues to get at bats, that power is going to come. The worst thing he can do is start trying to hit for power and changing some things mechanically and getting him out of whack. They believe he's still going to be a guy that hits a lot of home runs for this team.
There's James. Got to feel good. The Yankee offense has been doing great. They score 5.54 runs per game. Only the Cubs score more, 5.93.
And you think about scoring all those runs. I mean, Michael, you know a lot better than I do. Some of the conditions they played in have been miserable. And it's not easy to hit when it's miserable. Cold, rainy.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And swing and a miss, a little late there on the fastball, 2 away.
Well, that's what you call a good miss, because he was trying to throw a sinker in, and he ends up throwing this ball up and away. How come pitchers get lucky like that?
Yeah, you don't let him know, too. So the hitter doesn't know that he missed a spot. Yeah, I was trying to do that.
Like Volpe, Jazz had a little bit better of a weekend. He went 3 for 10 and drove in some runs and hit a home run and walked with the bases loaded.
1-0 on Chisholm.
You know, to me, his split Coney is more like a hard sinker. It doesn't have like that drop at the end. It's kind of just continues to go down, down, down.
Yeah, Sugano was a hard thrower back in Japan. You know, you forget that he's making his debut at 35 years old. So he used to throw in the upper 90s and get a lot more separation between that splitter and fastball. Not so much, to your point now.
And Jess Chisholm gets plunked. Couldn't get out of the way of the fastball, and the bases are loaded for Volpe.
Well, that's a good place to get hit if you're going to get hit. That's probably where you got the most padding.
Right on that pocket, right? The pocket's out.
Was that, you think that?
Right off the
target?
pocket.
You said he had good command.
Yes.
Yeah, the table's set here for the birthday boy, huh?
24 years old today, Anthony Volpe. Judge at third, Bellinger at second, Chisholm's at first. .22 pitches for Sugano. Strike. We told you in the open, Volpe was 5 for 10 against the Blue Jays after a 17-game stretch where he really struggled. (0-2). Game time weather presented by Bigelow, the official hot tea of the Yankees. Beautiful 72 degrees, no chance of rain. Humidity 27%. The wind is out of the south at 9 miles per hour. Bases loaded, 2 outs, just underway in Baltimore. Pitch.
He's got a little extra juice tonight, because watching him over the weekend, his last couple starts, his last start was against Washington, where he gave up 3 in the first, a couple home runs, and a single. He was 92, 93. He's been 94 a couple times, and they believe he's going to get to 95. That Drew French, their pitching coach, believes that.
Ground ball short. Henderson to second. They get the force, and that will do it here in the first. No runs, a hit, and the bases are left loaded. Yankees nothing. Orioles coming back. Well, the Yankees threaten the top of the first, but they don't get the big hit, so they don't score a run. Now it's the Orioles' turn against Will Warren. Cedric Mullins in center field leads off. Gunnar Henderson, the shortstop, at second. Adley Rutschman will catch. He'll hit third. Middle third of the order, O'Hearn, Mountcastle, and Kjerstad. Then it's Urias, Holiday, and Laureano. Sugano making his first career start against the Yankees.
And indeed, it's going to be young Will Warren towing the slab at Camden Yards here tonight. You can see this will be his 6th start on the season, 1-0 record. Numbers getting progressively better. And let's check out the Nissan Pitcher Scouting Report. High strikeout upside, in my opinion. That sweeper has tremendous movement on it. He's got swing and miss stuff. Needs to sharpen the control. And for me, he projects with that repertoire as a solid rotation piece. And that's why the more reps he gets, the better he's going to get.
I think the more confidence he'll get, I think his changeup will continue to improve, because his struggles have been against left-handers.
That's who's up there right now as he deals a strike to Mullins. Mullins hitting .279. He is a free agent at the end of the year. He's been here through the bad times with the Orioles and the turnaround as well. Does not seem as if they have any interest in talking extension with him. They've got young outfielders in the minors ready to come up at a much less expensive price, so this could be it for Mullins this year with the Orioles. 1-2.
You know, we were talking about his changeup before the game, and I said, I like his changeup, but there's a really high slug on it. So when he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake right in the heart of the plate and up. But when it's down like that, with that four-seamer that has carry, it's a really good combination.
Line drive, it's a base hit to center field. Mullins reaches. Check out the Yankee defense. You've got Bellinger in left, Grisham in center, and Judge over in right. We'll go third to first. Peraza's at third. Oswaldo Cabrera's just a day. Volpe in short. Chisholm at second. Goldschmidt at first. Ben Rice just a day. Dominguez the DH, and Austin Wells behind the plate. Both Cabrera and Dominguez played both ends of the doubleheader yesterday.
You played both ends, and you're here.
O'Neill played both ends. He's not.
Does that surprise you?
Well, when I look out, I don't see Yankee Stadium in front of me, so no, it doesn't surprise me. 0-1 on Henderson. Fourth in the MVP voting last year, off to a rough start this year, 220. Skied into left center field. And that's going to be in there for a base hit up against the wall. Bellinger plays it in. And Mullins will hold it third. It's a double for Henderson.
Yeah, that ball just kind of took off in that gap. Cody, I think, thought he had a beat on it, and you're going to see him kind of have a little hesitation. It's a sweeper that's up. I mean, he's gotten hurt when the ball has been up. You either want to be at the top of the zone or the bottom of the zone. And one thing about Gunnar Henderson is we know how productive of a hitter and how much power he has, and he goes the other way. Cody does a good job of hitting Volpe in the cutoff man. Now you're facing Adley Rutschman, who's been one of their hitters that has been really struggling this year.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like from the middle of last year to now, he has not hit the way he hit when he was a two-time All-Star. Actually made the All-Star game last year, but after that, kind of come down to earth. Seems to be something wrong with the pitch comp of Wells.
I always wonder what happens to them, because I know they're all charged overnight. What happens to where you don't hear it? Now they hear it. They're checking it out.
Here's the arsenal that Wells sports on StatCast 3D by Google Cloud.
Well, a couple different kinds of fastballs. A sweeper and a curve. Curveball's kind of a work in progress, and as Joe said, the changeup's good when it's down. The repertoire is there. See if he can do some damage control here.
Yankees play the infield back. They'll give up a run on the ground ball. And that's a foul ball outside of third.
Yeah, you see the four-seamer he's hit. His average is 93, but he's got 95 in the tank. And I actually believe there'll be more in there as he continues to pitch. You'll see that rise to 96, 97.
The difference between velocity and life. He's got a chance to have good life, good extension. So the perceived velocity, you're right, can be much higher than what the radar gun says.
So he kind of quick pitched him there a little bit. I like that too, because he has struggled with fastballs up in the zone. Really, ever since the middle of last year, he started expanding more, Rutschman, which was unusual. You wonder if fatigue played a factor. He played and started in 89 of the first 90 games.
Fly ball, left field, tagging Mullins. Bellinger with the catch. Mullins just bluffs, and the throw is cut off by Peraza.
Excellent job there. Pitch sequencing. Wells behind the plate. You're going for a pop-up there. You know, ground ball, you're playing the infield back. So if you can beat him with a fastball up like that, you can get an easy out on a pop-up. So one down.
Now he's got to face the tough Ryan O'Hearn, who has probably been their second best hitter behind Mullins all year, and he's very difficult to strike out. He only strikes out about 12% of the time, so you're going for another pop-up.
There's a strike. From 2019 through 22 with Kansas City, he was a .211 hitter. Since joining the Orioles, he's a .277 hitter. Said the best thing that ever happened to his career was coming to Baltimore.
You always wonder what happens, like in those situations. Sometimes you get around a certain coach and it just clicks. Sometimes it's a maturity thing, but you're right. He's been great with Baltimore. Solid contact, can play the outfield and play first base.
Infield remains back as they'll give up a run for the ground ball. 2-1. On deck is Mountcastle. Now, first base is open. You don't really do that in the first inning, but Mountcastle, 1 for his last 16, is on deck. It's a good pitch right there for strike. 2-2.
You know, so many times we talk about the carry at the top of the zone. It plays at the bottom, too.
Yes.
Because you think as a hitter it's going to be low, and it just kind of stays up.
Yeah, jumps into the mitt.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout of O'Hearn. 2 down.
Well,
love the approach. Love it.
Yeah. And that's the carry at the bottom and then the carry at the top, and he got him. And, you know, in this last 7 games, they were 6 for 60 with runners in scoring position. And they've had a couple opportunities so far tonight, and Will Warren has just beat them with better pitching.
Yep. A little tardy there with that swing.
Pitch to Mountcastle, a strike. Now they brought in the fences in left center field and also left field a bit. It's not the original distance, but the guy who's happiest about it is Mountcastle. He lost 11 home runs that would have been home runs in the original Camden yards with the extra deep left field fence. No other player lost more than 8. One.
Here's the other thing it did, Michael. Changed his swing. When he hit the 33 and was it 2021, he had pulled the ball like 22% of the time in the air. Last year it was down to 10%, and now it's up again to 20% because the fences are in. But it's hard to change your swing when you're at this age and you're a power hitter. He was built for the old Camden, and then he changed.
One strike away from getting out of the jam. Mountcastle calls time.
See if you can get him to chase a good sweeper off the plate here, because you got a couple pitches to play with here.
Swing and a miss. How about Warren? Second and third, nobody out. Gets Rushman to pop to left. Strikes out O'Hearn. Strikes out Mountcastle. Well, left field has been fluid here at Camden Yards. These are the original dimensions, a home run haven. Then they changed it, and they made it very tough to hit home runs. The wall grew in height, and it went back, but the balls didn't. And now they said, you know what, maybe we better bring it a little bit closer. So the wall went down to 8 feet and 6 feet 11 inches when you get closer to left center, and it's a little bit more fair for hitters. You know, the original reason for moving it all the way back was they wanted to attract pitchers. That hasn't worked. That's one of the knocks against the Orioles front office, that they lost Corbin Burns as a free agent, and they didn't really bring in anybody of import, and the pitching has really struggled, but maybe it'll help the hitters hit a little bit.
It's always about the offense, isn't it, Coney? We're trying to improve the offense of baseball because pitchers have had such an advantage.
No doubt about it. Position players are at a premium nowadays.
There's Austin Wells. There's a strike. Nice job by Will Warren to get out of a second and third nobody out jam without allowing a run. Ground ball, second base, backhanded by Holiday. 1 down. Let's check out FanDuel's live same game parlay. Well, Judge has 45 home runs against the Orioles, and Warren just picked up 2 strikeouts. So some of the things that are on the board. There's Jason Dominguez, beats in 4 of 9 plate appearances in the doubleheader yesterday. Grounded foul.
I've been impressed with him so far this year. His ability to hit left-handed, his ability to use the whole field to go the other way, drive the ball the other way. I know he's had his struggles right-handed. As he gets more at bats, I think he'll improve. He's got a really good eye. He doesn't chase a lot, and there's a lot of power in this 5'9" frame.
Some serious bat speed there.
Yeah.
As measured any way you want to look at it, the eye test or the measurements that we see, it's elite bat speed and also foot speed.
I mean, he's hitting .315 with an .883 OPS off of right-handers. That's some serious damage.
Yes. You just want to see the kids get more at-bats, more chances. And Will Warren on the mound, Dominguez at the plate. It's the only way you find out. You got to run them out there and let them figure it out themselves.
Swing and a miss on the splitter. Dominguez down on strikes.
Well, Sugano can do it, and that's, you know, more like a super sinker. You're right. That's 89 miles an hour, but well located, well disguised. It's a professional pitcher out there with a great resume in Japan.
Here's Peraza.
I mean, you can see he's on the edges and just off the edges of the plate. And when he gets in trouble is when he gets too much of the plate, because his stuff isn't overpowering. But his control is fantastic.
0-2.
Won 7 innings his last 2 starts. So, I mean, he's given him the length. It's something that the other starters aren't doing. Pitching at a pretty high level.
Yeah, he keeps you in the game. That was his reputation in Japan as well.
So talking about that, 24 games last year he pitched in Japan. 23 of them he gave up 3 runs or less. And the other game he gave up 4. So you're never out of a game when he's in there. And he has not given up more than 3 here in his 5 starts so far.
Strike 3. Strong inning for Sugano, retiring the Yankees in order with 2 strikeouts. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Well, it's time for Pinstripe Pride, brought to you by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicles of the Yankees. Tonight's picture is of Mariano. Turned 3 years old yesterday and got to watch the Yankees sweep a doubleheader on his birthday. I wonder if he was named after that relief pitcher the Yankees have.
He's got a cutter grip right there, the lefty. You can see it. He's off center.
Use the hashtag Toyota Pinstripe Pride. Mention yes in pictures you post to social media. Reflect your love for the Bronx Bombers. Hey, we might spotlight you in a future game. Kjerstad leads up here in the second. Oh, what a play by Chisholm. And he gets him. He took a base hit away from Kjerstad. Just an absolute brilliant play.
Well, it's this way it's going for Heston. He's been struggling lately. 1 for his last 20, and he hits a bullet. He's got all kinds of power. Speed is not so much his game, but he's got all kinds of power. And you look at Jazz's layout. He understands he's got time to get up, set his feet, make a good accurate throw, and to get Kjerstad by plenty. Wow, what a great play. And as a pitcher, man, you got to be saying, wow, 1 pitch, 1 out, great play.
Well, this just gives you an example of the range. You know when you find out about range and quick jumps is when a ball's smoked like that. He's got no business getting at that ball.
And you talk about that. He leads the Yankees in outs above average with +3 so far this season. And it's because of that range, the balls that he can get to.
Urias with a 1-1 count. Ground ball, Volpe. He fields, fires, 2 down.
You know, that's an impressive play, too, because as an infielder, you're always taught to read the hops, and you don't want to get that in-between hop. You want to get a short hop or a higher hop. And he took a step back to get the right hop. He could have came in, but he took the step back to get the hop around his waist because he knew he had time. I mean, that's just really good defense and reading the ball, and that's so important for infielders.
Jackson Holiday takes a strike.
Yankees pretty strong up the middle this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see this just perfect position, puts the hand on top of it, the feet field funnel, footwork, fire, and the follow through. The 6 F's of fielding.
You know that old saying, you got to be strong up the middle?
Yeah.
That's where most of the balls are hit. A lot of the balls are hit there.
Yeah.
Up the middle.
And you got Trent out in center field, who plays a very good center field. Bellinger's played a good center field. Austin Wells does a really good job behind the plate. You look at the Yankees defense, it's improved. I mean, it's tied for third in defensive runs saved, so
it's noticeable.
At plus 14.
The athleticism especially.
Yeah.
Laureano is on deck. One, two. There's a base hit through the right side for Holiday.
Well, he must have learned that from his dad. If you're going to hit it hard, don't hit it to somebody, right? Hits this ball pretty hard. A ball that's down and in to a lefty, which they usually like, and hits it in the hole. And changeup. His changeup has really good depth and run when it's away from left-handers, but when he leaves it up or leaves it in, it kind of flattens out.
Yeah, that'll get better the more he uses it.
Pitch to Laureano is a strike. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0. Yankees in the O's. First game of the 3-game set. One and one. Warren has thrown a first pitch strike to all 9 batters. Count 1 and 2.
The other thing, Connie, we're talking about his stuff and how we think it's going to get better as time goes on here. He's quick to home. I mean, he's really quick to home. He's hard to run on, which is great for a catcher, because when a guy's slow to home, a lot of times you speed up trying to throw and you throw the ball away. He does a really good job of holding runners.
Yeah, a really good athlete out there, without a doubt. It moves well. That's one of the hardest things for a young pitcher to learn, is how to quicken up your delivery to home plate. Well, give your catcher a chance.
So many times in the minor leagues, they want them to worry about their stuff and not how quick they are to home, because they want them to develop that first. And sometimes when they get up to the big leagues, they're a little bit slow and they have to improve as they're there.
Center field. Going back, Grisham still back, and it's Over's headed up against the wall. Holiday rounds third. He'll score. It's an RBI double for Laureano, and it's 1-0 Baltimore.
Yeah, this ball looked like it took a turn on Grisham. You see him go back, and then all of a sudden he takes his eye off it for a second to check where the wall is, and it went back over his shoulder, so it became too difficult for him to touch. With the 2 outs, Holiday's going on anything, and it's a pretty easy score for him. So Laureano, who does not necessarily hit right-handers well, hits this ball really hard.
Yeah, he tried to run to a spot, and he picked the wrong spot. And I think you're right. There was a little bit of knuckle on that. It was hit right on the screws. Certainly well struck. Sometimes the spin off the bat matters too. We talk about spin from the pitcher, but off the bat can matter as well. And that ball really kind of sailed and took off.
The other thing that you're dealing with right now is twilight. It's not dark, and sometimes it's a little bit harder for outfielders to pick up the ball when it's not dark and it's at twilight time. And it looked like he just, like you said, was running to the spot where he thought the ball was going to be, and it, for whatever reason, went back over his shoulder.
Popped up on the right side. Goldschmidt makes the play, and that'll do it. Baltimore gets a run on 2 hits, 1 man left. We go to the 3rd. Well, suit up this. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, hoodies, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source for your Yankees gear. Top of the order, here's Trent Grisham to start the third. 1-0 Orioles. Strangely, that ball by Grisham that went over the head of Grisham had a 90% catch probability, so it had to be that he misread it.
Yeah, and it happens, especially this time of night. Sometimes outfielders lose balls for a second, and then they have to find them. So you're going to see he tries to run to this where he thinks it's going to be at, and he freezes because it's a line drive, and he's not sure. And then it goes over back his shoulder, and I see him looking at the lights and looking at the sky. What I loved about it is he walked through the dugout. Everyone patted him on the back. You know, like, we got you. We'll pick you up. He's done a lot of good things for this team so far this year. You know, and he feels bad. He understands that's a play that I can make. For whatever reason, tonight I didn't make it. He's a really good outfielder.
Foul back here.
It was interesting today. He was out early hitting off the machine today and shooting balls to left field a lot. Working on letting the ball travel.
The 35-year-old Sugano rocks and deals the 2-2. Grounded foul. Now, how often does somebody come from Japan coming off an MVP season? That's what Sugano was. But he's 35. He said, I had a great career in Japan. I felt like I did all I could do there.
You said 3 MVPs and 2 like Cy Youngs. That's a lot.
Swing and a miss. Grisham down on strikes. And that'll bring up Aaron Judge, the Yankee captain. We take a look at the leaders, brought to you by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. 45 home runs against the Orioles since 2017. And that's his most against any opponent. Toronto's next with 38. So this Sugano's obviously first season in the big leagues, and his first spring training here in the States. And he said the one guy he got starstruck facing during spring training was Aaron Judge. And he gave up a single to Judge in the first inning, but he jumps ahead 0-2. So there you see the resume. He signed a 1-year, $13 million deal in December. And he spent his entire season with the legendary Yomiuri Giants, essentially the Yankees of Japan. The 0-2.
You know what's amazing to me about those stats there is he won an MVP in 2014. And usually when guys win MVP, multiple, they bunch them together. He won one 10 years later. That's pretty incredible. I mean, that's consistency and a great career. Won in 2024.
And throwing multiple gold gloves as well on the defense side.
Well, his balance is so good as a pitcher. He's always facing the hitter. You know what was incredible? That stat that Michael read, the 45 homers. That's in only 101 games.
Up the middle and past the lunging Henderson. Another base hit for Judge. So he has a 25-game on-base streak, and in 20 of them, he's been on multiple times.
Yeah, this is a ball. He's trying to go in, and he's got such long arms. He's able to extend his arms and hit this ball hard through the middle past Gunnar Henderson. It looks like it's knuckling coming off the bat there, and it looked like it just, Gunnar thought he had a chance to get this, and Aaron Judge hits the ball so hard consistently. It's by you.
That's why a torpedo bat doesn't work for him.
Yeah.
Bellinger walked in the first.
Michael, you started that torpedo craze where you talked about it and everyone was like, what are the Yankees doing? It hasn't been much mentioned about it lately. What happened?
I think you got to hit the ball to make it work.
Oh.
It's the anatomy of a viral moment. You know, I mean, just that's going to be a case study years from now.
I got a text from Boog Shambi, and he's like, what are they doing over there? Are they like, Boog, I think it's legal what they're doing.
See, you're different than I am, Joe. I ignore boot steps.
It's the second inside strike that's kind of went Bellinger's way. One the first at bat and one this at bat. He's not calling it in there. So as a hitter, you got to realize that I don't need to worry about that. I need to worry about what's out over the plate now.
A lot of that has to do, I mean, from sort of a theoretical standpoint, is where the umpire stands.
Yes.
He's staring right at the inside corner. He's over the right shoulder of the catcher. He can see that side.
Three and two on Bellinger.
I mean, that's command. A 3-1 breaking ball in the outside corner down. And that's not just flipping one in there for a strike. That's locating one well.
Sugano's velocity is up a tick tonight. You noticed that early, Joe, and it's certainly bearing out. Averaging 93 miles an hour tonight.
Runner goes, and there's a base hit through the right side. Judge heads to third. Bellinger makes the turn. Kerstad fires into second. Yankees playing the corners, first and third, one man out.
Well, that low strikeout total, 9 coming in tonight, really plays here because you send Aaron Judge because he's quick enough to home that you can throw him out, but you assume that your hitter's going to make contact because he's only got an 8% strikeout rate, and that's exactly what Cody Bellinger does. Sets up a first-third situation for Paul Goldschmidt, gives him that hole between first and second, which we've seen him shoot the ball there many times this year.
So here's Goldschmidt. He had runners on first and second, one man out. In the first, he struck out. And although he came in with just 9 strikeouts, Sugano has 4 so far against the Yanks. Judge at third, Bellinger at first. Bellinger a threat to go.
Yeah, it could have something to do with what you talked about. His velocity's a little bit up tonight, and it gives more of a separation between the split, the sweeper, and the fastball.
Based on my experience, when I felt a little stronger, all my other pitches came along for the ride, generally.
One. Big cut by Goldschmidt. Uncharacteristic of his swing this year.
Yeah, he chased the sinker down, and he foul tips it back into the glove of Rutschman. Here, he's probably looking for a ball that's thigh high to waist high so he can get it at least in the air.
He actually got underneath that pitch.
He has been very situationally savvy in the early going with the Yankees. He'll shorten up the swing with 2 strikes. Judge darting off third. Just missed.
Well, what you see Paul do is he gets his foot down early. He had a hard time figuring out his toe tap the first few months last year, where he was double toe tapping and he didn't like it. And he's went to the kind of the single toe tap, get it down early, and just get the barrel to the ball.
Swing and a miss. Strikes him out on the splitter. 5th strikeout for Sugano.
A lot of movement on this pitch, down and in.
Yeah, this is a nasty pitch because you're expecting it to be middle away, and then it just darts inside and beats him inside. It's not the velocity, it's the movement that beats him. It's a really good split.
Here's Jazz Chisholm Jr. hit by a pitch in the first inning.
So Cody Bellinger just did a fake like he was going to run, and you try to see what the infielders are doing to react, to see if you want to put, let's see if the shortstop's covering. If he doesn't move, then you know that they're not throwing through and you can maybe get an extra base. So you really need to change signs every time when that happens. So you're going to see him a bluff steal just to see what the shortstop does. He's peeking to see, is he covering? If he's not covering, then I'm going.
0-2.
And I always thought it was toughest for a manager to put on a steal here in a situation when the shortstop's behind second base almost, because he can see the runner at third and read what he's doing. It's a lot easier than if he has to come way over from the shortstop hole where his back's to you.
Swing and a miss. Got him. Couple of nasty splitters. 3 strikeouts in the inning. The Yankees strand 2. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Optimum Fiber. Get Optimum, the fastest fiber internet. Don't take slow for an answer. By your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. And by the New York Lottery. Get out there and play. The great rivalries, New York and Baltimore, the 2 Ironmen in baseball history. Gunnar Henderson leads off. In fact, the Yankee franchise began officially in 1903, but the franchise they took over for was the Baltimore Orioles, who were formed in 1901. They played 2 seasons, kind of went out of business. So that's why the Yankees' history does not say they started in 1901. They started in 1903, but took over the franchise title from what was the Baltimore Orioles.
So, Coney, I got a pitching question for you. He smoked a sweeper last time on a second pitch. It was a ball that was pretty much middle. Last year, he killed the breaking ball. He hit .298 with a .708 slug. This year, he's hitting .048. So do you say, I just made a mistake, or that's really who he is, and he's just off to a slow start this year?
You got to look at the sample size, how many he's faced this year. The league's adjusting to him a little bit. The first, the double he smashed in the first at bat certainly was up in middle. So location has a lot to do with it. But I always thought if this guy's a really good breaking ball hitter, that you could pitch bad to his strengths. So make him chase if you can, if he's looking for it.
And Henderson with a dramatic bat flip following the walk, like he hit a home run just then.
Well, the Orioles have been criticized for being a little too passive this year so far. And you can see Gunnar Henderson's trying to add a little attitude. You know, they've been struggling. So.
Yeah, and he's been a guy that's been really frustrated because he's hit the ball extremely hard this year, but it hasn't shown up in the power numbers. I've seen him slam his helmet a couple times, which is, we didn't see him do that last year. He was so good. He had a WAR of about 9 last year, but 4th in MVP voting. But this year he's a little frustrated. I think they all are a little frustrated because they're used to being in the playoffs and playing for the division the last couple of years.
Yeah, he was 3rd in the American League in WAR. Judge was 1st at 10.8. Bobby Witt Jr. 9.4. And Henderson was 9.1.
Somebody's got to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, for us, it was O'Neill. You know, could take the bat to the water cooler or whatever when everybody was wake up. I mean, kind of a collective wake-up call. You need that kind of personality on teams, especially when you play so many games every day.
And I thought when Paulie left and I came back to manage, Jorge was that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, game on, here we go.
Jorge was a gamer.
Yeah.
2-1. You know, I told the story over the weekend. I had done an event with Don Mattingly and asked him, his favorite teammates, and he put O'Neill at the top of the list. He said, when he got to the Yankees, things changed. There was accountability. People knew that he was not going to take losing. He said that changed the entire room.
Yeah, I mean, Paul could start the game off 0 for 1 and slamming his helmet, his bat in the bat rack, hitting the water cooler, and it was like, okay. He never gave it bats away, and he talked about it. I would hear his kids talk about how they'd never, I gave 2 at bats away today, and I was like, oh gosh, I'd hear Andy talk about it.
2-2. 3-2 on Rushman.
Coney, what makes you pull a changeup like that? Because that's not where you want it. You don't want it on the inside corner and down.
No, you don't. I mean, there's different theories nowadays in terms of your grip, and whether you're a pronator or a supinator without it getting too technical. It looks like he's trying to use sort of that seam shifted wake terms of just throw it with a cut grip. Sometimes that causes you to hold on to it a little bit. You're relying on the seams to do the movement rather than trying to spot it with location.
Here comes Matt Blake. This has been a team that we've talked about has had trouble scoring runs, and they have not walked this year. They're 27th in all of baseball. The amount of walks they have taken, they've been overly aggressive. And that's the one thing, if you're Will Warren, you don't want to do, is start walking people, because it makes it a lot easier to score runs.
Here's Ryan O'Hearn. He struck out in the first inning. So there's been traffic for the Orioles in the first three, but they managed to just push across one. Swings through.
I'd like to bottle that one right there. That's where you want your changeup. Oh, nice adjustment.
And even the first one he threw to Cedric Mullins was just below the zone in that outer half. The depth through it was fantastic.
Foul back.
Really like the game Austin Wells calls back there. The sequencing of pitches. Really well thought out. A couple pitches away, that one up and in.
Yeah, I always thought, you know, in calling a game, I wanted to know the quadrants I could go with a fastball that I felt safe with the pitcher, and could the pitcher execute that? Which breaking ball he was better? Was he better against curveball, or was he better against the slider or the sweeper? Could I throw my changeup to him? And you'd put it all together, and you knew how you wanted to get him out, but you wanted to make sure you didn't always follow the same pattern to get there.
He's had 3 good changeups in this sequence. 1 fastball up and in. Everything else has been away. See if they go back and up and in now.
Throw that good four-seamer that he got him on the first time.
Driven deep to right field. Judge on the run, and he'll look, and it's gone. A 3-run home run for O'Hearn, and it is 4-0 Baltimore.
A road trip where you don't score runs and you score some runs, all of a sudden there's life to that dugout. You see Henderson giving O'Hearn the high five when he caught it across home plate. It just allows everyone to breathe a little bit.
There's Mountcastle. 0-1. And the hydration station.
Suck my fucking balls.
I guess the foul should get cleaned out. Fouled away.
Looks like he's trying to come in. He just left it right there to the sweeper. He's got such big movement on that sweeper that, you know, sometimes you start it at the wrong spot and it ends up in the middle of the plate instead of either backdooring it or missing down and in. That's the one you lay your head on your pillow at night and you're going to remember that pitch.
Swing and a miss. Mountcastle down on strikes.
He was in the driver's seat, Joe. He had a chance to go finish him, and he just left that pitch right there.
Yeah, he hung it, right? If he throws him that breaking ball down and in at his back foot, he probably gets it. You know, O'Hearn is not a great breaking ball hitter, but when it's middle, you become a pretty good breaking ball hitter. I think they should be out. If a Yankee fan catches it, you're out.
You like the banana ball, right?
Why not?
Did you see they got 83,000, the Savannah Bananas in Clemson University the other day?
They're going to play Yankee Stadium later this year.
Wow.
Are you broadcasting that game?
No, I'm on the road with the New York Yankees.
I don't remember who it was. I was doing a little scouting on a pitcher the other day, and his coach in junior college is the head coach. His head coach in junior college is now the coach for the Savannah Bananas. It might have been Cade Povich, who we're going to see Wednesday.
2-2.
You can just see the frustration of a young pitcher on the mound. I know that feeling so well. And he's working so hard, and then you hang one, a 3-run Johnson.
And down goes Kjerstad looking. 2 away. 4th strikeout for Warren.
For some reason, I think he's a little bit calmer in his emotion and his demeanor than maybe you would have been.
Yes, no. I'd be up all night thinking about that pitch.
That's a pretty good front hip sinker there, though.
Yes. The stuff generally has been good.
Here is Ramon Urias. Strike.
Some lessons that you have to learn for yourself on the mound.
And there's that life to that four-seamer that just has that carry that hitters don't expect. And he's got 4 strikeouts, you know, in the 3rd inning. The stuff has been good. It's been the mistakes that have cost him, and they haven't missed him. Some days you get away with them.
Still 1-2 on the Oriole third baseman.
You know, I find it interesting through all their struggles. 2 of their older guys, and these guys aren't that old, like Urias and Mullins have been the most consistent in O'Hearn. I mean, and they were almost forgotten guys because they talk so much about all the prospects always coming and the young players coming, but they have been the most productive hitters during the course of this year so far.
Making Warren work. Another foul ball.
Sometimes when you get in these long innings, you start to lose a little bit of the life that the ball had. This is the 6th hitter he's faced. A couple 3-2 counts to Henderson and Rutschman, where he walked them. He's thrown a lot of pitches this inning.
Swing and a miss. So he rings up 3 strikeouts, but the Orioles have a 3-run home run. It's 4-0 Baltimore. In the official hospital of New York Yankees, the Orioles have so many injuries, can't fit them all, so these are 4 of the more important ones. They expect a lot out of Grayson Rodriguez, not throwing it with an elbow and a lat problem. Zach Eflin throwing his 2nd bullpen tomorrow, a lat problem. Kowser, Westberg also out. And they are 10-17 coming into the game. It's the Volpe's high.
And with Eflin and Rodriguez, you're talking about probably their number 1 and their number 2 in their rotation. You're also missing a guy like Kyle Bradish for the whole year, who might have been their number 3.
One and one. Now, a lot of players that come over from Japan have the same complaint that Sugano has had. He said he's noticed that there's more variation between baseballs in the States compared to Japan. They're not all the same. I think that level of consistency is a little lower over here. That one is driven into center field. Mullins back. So he hit it well, but Mullins is right there for the first out.
So I would ask you, did you notice variations in balls a lot?
Well, variation certainly in
when you pitched.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I really feel like the seams are a little higher when I pitched as opposed to today, but the variation is just in the conditioning of the baseballs, the mud application. In Japan, they have a pre-tacky leather, so the balls are very consistent immediately out of the box over there. And they're a little smaller, too, in Japan.
So when I was in Philadelphia, Raul Ibanez was going around to all the clubs with these different balls that had different tackiness on them, trying to, and he would give them to a couple pitchers to feel which one they liked the best. I don't think they ever changed. And you know, now they're rubbed up with mud and.
Sure, they go through a ton of baseballs throughout a major league game. It's a dirt, gets thrown out. The fans get a lot of baseball. It's good for the game, but using that many baseballs, the quality control is certainly challenging.
And the thing that's amazing, David, is that they're human beings that stitch the ball. So it's not like some machines can like throw out like 100 per minute. They're actually hand stitched. Takes forever.
Think about how many balls you go through. I mean, you're talking about 100, maybe 120 during your game, yeah, because you throw out every ball that you. But what about all the balls in BP? They take BP, they'll hit 100 out in a round of batting practice. It's amazing.
You know, back in the day, we used to have coaches that would watch us. If we threw a ball in the stands, he'd get all over us. You can't give away balls, and you're hurting the budget.
They would tell you could get sued if it hits somebody in the face.
Yes. And then after the strike, they were actually encouraged to give baseballs to the fans. And it hasn't changed since then. So since '95, you see players all the time, coaches all the time giving baseballs to the fans.
I went some innings with one baseball. The whole inning, one ball.
Swing and a miss. What I'm amazed about, David, is that you've told me before, if you can get a ball with a scuff on it, you can really make it dance. Some pitchers see any kind of scuff on the ball, they throw it out.
Yeah, they don't know how to use it. And I'd like to take back my scouting report on Sugano not being a strikeout guy.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, he was the lowest of any pitcher with 20 innings, only striking out 8% of the hitters that he's faced. But his stuff has been really good tonight.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts so far.
Had 9 coming in.
9 coming in. And 6 home runs allowed. Shutting out the Yankees now here in the 4th inning, 2 outs. Orioles lead 4-0. Ground ball and through for a base hit. Dominguez hit that ball hard. Got it past the diving Mountcastle. So that's a 2-out single.
It's a really loud noise, Coney, when you hear it coming off the bat. The noise seems to come right up here, and this is a fastball that's up. It's a mistake, and he took advantage of it. It's amazing how hitters, they just don't miss mistakes sometimes. And there's a lot of days that you're praying they're missing them, but they just don't.
Got a fast bat.
Yeah, he does.
Here's Peraza, struck out looking in the 2nd. And a strike. High fly ball. Laureano makes the play, and that'll do it. In the 4th, no runs a hit. 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Orioles play game 2 here at Camden Yards. Coverage starts at 5:30 with Audi batting practice in the pregame. And first pitch is set for 6:35 on Yes and the Gotham Sports app. It's a bunt. Fielded quickly by Wells. A nice stretch there by Goldschmidt. And they get Holiday for the first out. Nice play on both ends.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about, you got to go get it. He'd get it out there enough. And Joe, you know that kind of play. But Goldie on the back end, wow.
Yeah, there's two ways to go after that ball. You can either do this, what Austin Wells does, where he turns his back to the first base and then makes the throw. Or I used to like to banana kind of to the ball, so I was going towards first base. I thought it was easy for me to throw, but that's a tough play, and it's a good play on both parts.
Hit sharply and past the diving Peraza and down the left field line. Laureano will go for second. He's got a second double of the night.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is he was brought here to play against left-handers. He's getting some playing time because of some of the injuries, and he was known for killing lefties last year when he was in Atlanta, but he's actually hitting righties better this year than he is left-handers. Just on the line, man.
Yeah, off the end of the bat, hooking line drive off of a sweeper. And by that much.
Peraza almost got that, too.
There's Mullins. Runner goes. They have picked. A tag, and the ball's loose. Laureano will reach third. Yankees were thinking along with him, but the execution wasn't there, and Laureano kept running.
Laureano made it tough because he just took off and never stopped, and it makes it for a tough lane for Volpe to throw into. And because you're right behind the base runner and doesn't have time to make space and maybe step into the line, throws it across the line, and it's a tough play for Peraza.
Well, with Mullins due up, looks like that's going to do it for Will Warren. Aaron Boone will take the ball from his young right-hander, and he will go to the bullpen here with one out in the fourth inning. Yankees down 4-0. Second, when the Yankees take on the Rays, it's Jazz Chisholm basketball jersey night. And the first 18,000 guests in attendance are going to receive a Jazz Chisholm basketball jersey courtesy of StubHub. Tickets are going fast, so get yours today at Yankees.com. So Warren's night is over. The runner at third is his responsibility. And he turns it over to the left-hander, Ryan Yarbrough. 3 lefties in the Yankee bullpen. Last appearance by Yarbrough was last Monday. 13 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings. Yankees have to bring the infield in. Yarbrough against Mullins. 1 man out. Tied him up, 0-1. Cooking up something special with HexClad. Join the hybrid revolution at hexclad.com. Third in the American League in on-base percentage. 6th in slugging. 3rd in OPS, and tied for 5th with runs batted in 20. 1 for 2 tonight. 1-1.
Talked about the resurgence of Cedric Mullins. On the Orioles, he's first in hits, first in runs, first in homers, first in RBIs, first in walks. Last year at times he hit 8th.
He's really got the ball out in front. He's recognizing pitches that he can pull and get in the air this year. Much better. Top 5 pulled fly ball rate so far this year.
I mean, I think we forget in 21 he hit 30 home runs.
Yes.
He was an all-star.
To the pull side, especially in this park.
(3-1). Now 3-2.
So is your mentality here that you have an open base? I'm a ground ball pitcher. I'm going for the strikeout instead of trying to, you know, necessarily let him put it in play and hopefully grounds out to somebody.
He walks him.
Yarbrough's not really a strikeout guy, more of a ground ball guy, unless he can sweep it and get a chase. But
Yeah, I thought he might do that to the left-handed hitter. And Henderson's a guy that runs pretty well, so you would think that he'd be tough to double up. But the other thing he does is he hits the ball really hard on the ground. I mean, his average exit velocity is a top 5% baseball, over 95 miles per hour.
They back up for the double play at second and short. And Henderson takes a strike. Henderson with a double and a walk and a run scored tonight. Orioles up 4-0, looking for more here in the bottom of the fourth. Yarbrough on a relief of Warren. Good breaking ball, drops in there for a strike. 71 miles an hour.
Got 15 inches of horizontal movement on that one. Started at his knee, ended up on the outside corner.
And then you got to worry about him running the ball into you if you're a left-hander, because he likes to do that too. So it can't be a real comfortable at bat for a left-hander.
Just missed. 1-2. David, is it weird seeing that number on a tall, slender Yankee left-hander?
I guess, yeah. You know, now that you mention it.
Although Wells is lean now.
And he's still tall.
Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Yarbrough.
72 miles an hour. You know, it ends up middle, but you can see that it's way out in front of this pitch.
That's the 6th Yankee strikeout, brought to you by Audi and the 2025 Audi Q6. Visit your local Tri-State Audi dealer today. So here's Adley Rutschman, 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Yarbrough an out away from getting out of the inning. Oh, 0-1.
I think Yarbrough has a really good chance of being a really big piece in this bullpen because of his ability to go multiple innings all the time, and he gets lefties and righties out, and he usually chews up lefties. And when you're replacing him a lot of times, it's in these type of games where they're not going to necessarily pinch hit. You're running through a bunch of lefties. I think he's got a chance to be a big piece of this bullpen.
1-2 on Rutschman.
I mean, he's the original bulk guy.
Yes, the Rays kind of made him famous for that. He was the guy that
had a bobblehead, didn't he?
He had a bobblehead?
Yeah. Ryan Stanek was the original opener. Close for the Mets the other night. He's moved up in the pecking order a long ways in those years.
High fly ball. Grisham there, and he'll put it away for the final out. So Yarbrough does a good job. The Orioles strand 2. We go to the 5th. Now it's time for pitching decisions presented by Sage.
Well, Sagano has really come in pumped up. It's a little more on his fastball, but his splitter's really the story. The Yankees have swung and missed 7 times at that particular pitch. He's got 14 swing and misses to go with those 7 strikeouts through 4 innings.
Audi scoreboard 4-0 Orioles. We go to the 5th inning, top of the Yankee order against the veteran righty. And a strike. There's a base hit to right field. Well struck by Grisham, a leadoff single.
Yeah, his hard hit rate is about the same as last year, but his exit velo is up about 3 miles an hour, well over the league average. Last year, though, he took so many pitches that at times he would strike out a little bit more, but he's been so much better this year.
Here's Judge, 2 for 2, hitting .417.
You know, I laughed the other day. You said something like he was 2 for 5, and his average, I had to think about it, went down.
Yep. He has always done so well against the Orioles. We told you about all the home runs he's hit. But also at .321. Last year he hit .333 with 6 home runs and 11 ribbies.
There's that really good split you've been talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of right at the end, it drops. It's almost like a hard sinker. He turns it over. You know, those 6 home runs, Michael, they came in the last 7 games because he didn't do much against them the first time we were here.
Yep.
He was really scuffling.
2-2. Sugano has the Yankees a little off balance. He is really pitching out there. He's coming with more velocity than they were likely told.
Yeah, those are the times that Jeep would look into the dugout at the hitting coach of say 92, 93, and he dropped to 94. And he'd stare at him like, and they're like, 1 mile an hour? You gonna get on me about it? He would. We knew he was listening in the meetings.
2-2. Judge down on strikes. The 8th strikeout for Sugano.
And another splitter. And the thing about this splitter is that it looks like it's right down the middle. Those are the most effective ones. They look like they're right down the middle and they dive over the heart of the plate. Hitter reads fastball. Never got there.
So he has 8 strikeouts. He had 9 coming in. He's kept the ball in the yard. He's given up 6 home runs coming in. So Yankees looking to connect on one of those, get right back in this. They're down 4-0, top of the 5th inning. Bellinger 1 for 1 with a walk. He has 2 home runs and 13 ribbies on the season.
Well, the Yankees have swung the bat 39 times tonight off of Sugano. 17 times they missed.
It's not a real good ratio.
That's not a good thing. No. But every pitch has a purpose. It's an old school style, and in today's age, we talk about power. Pitchers aiming down the middle, throw it as hard as you can. We'll get you out and get another guy in, but this is artistry. Back and forth, front to back.
Yeah, and what you don't see him do a lot is throw 2 fastballs in a row. So if you get a fastball, I think it's more for show where he's trying to speed you up a little bit and keep you honest. And then he goes back to something soft. Seems he can drop that curveball anytime he wants for a strike in there as well.
Up and down, in and out, front to back. Let's go up. Bellinger says, wait, I haven't seen one up there. Well, that's in the strike zone. He sees it high. because you're so keyed in on splitters down.
Three-two. Left field. Laureano hardly had to move. 2 outs.
I was listening to a spring training game where Sugano was pitching and Drew French was being interviewed during the game, and he said that, you know, they grade you on a scale 20 to 80, 80 being the best, and he said it's about as close to 80 command as I've seen as a pitching coach.
So action in the bullpen. Brian Baker's up.
They have a number of guys down there that like to throw 98, Coney. You got Baker, you got Soto, you got Cano, you got Bautista.
The mountain's back this year.
Yeah.
Two and one on Goldschmidt.
That has to be really frustrating for a hitter because you can't ever feel like you're in a hitter's count. 2-0, he threw him a sweeper. 2-1, he threw him a split. And he's done a really good job of crowding Goldschmidt with that split, running it down and into him or in it like his thighs. And you can't ever feel like you're in a fastball count.
Deep to center field. Mullins back on the track at the wall. Leaps and he makes the play. Taking a home run away from Goldschmidt. It's his home ballpark. He knew exactly where he was. Used up all of the real estate. Then a little baby jump at the end to take it in. It was going to be a 4-2 game. Instead, it's a third out of the fifth. We're halfway through. Out he scored over the Yankees, bottom of the fifth. And the pitch to Ryan O'Hearn is a strike. Hit the big 3-run home run in the third inning off of Warren. Turned a 1-0 game into a 4-0 game, and that's where we are right now. Yankees came oh so close to cutting that lead in half with the Goldschmidt drive to center, but Mullins hauled it in, robbing him of a home run. Mullins putting on a show in his walk here.
Yeah, this is just an outstanding play. He knows exactly where he is. He gives himself plenty of room to jump where he does not too close to the wall. Sometimes you'll see outfielders jump into the wall. Robs a home run from Goldie, and it could have been 4-2, as Michael said.
It's 402 feet away. It's a home run in 6 out of 30 parks. Not here. Not with that guy playing center field.
Right in on the hands. Let's check out the exit velocity presented by Spectrum on the home run by O'Hearn. 98 off the bat, traveled 357 feet for his 5th home run of the season. Two. Soft ground ball. Charging is Chisholm, and he'll get O'Hearn.
I think that has to be such a tough play on the first baseman to see when they're throwing from that angle. And a lot of times it has a little velocity. I mean, this is his only play. He can't set his feet to try to find where you're throwing it from. It's like as a hitter, when you see a pitcher that throws from a different angle, you got to find the slot where the ball's coming from. But that's not predictable where it's coming from. So it's
to get handcuffed from that distance.
I would not want to be a first baseman. Give me my gear, my mask, and my shin guards, and let me go behind home plate.
1-0 on Mountcastle. Struck out twice against Warren. (1-1). Keegan Aiken warming up. Mountcastle is on Instagram, and he said that his coolest Instagram follow is Aaron Judge.
Who's your coolest?
I don't know. You know, I don't know who's following him. I never really looked.
I mean, I'm sure it's thousands, so it would take you forever to find out. To scroll through them all, right? I don't know how to do it.
Are you on social media at all?
I am, but
just as a looker.
I don't post. Yeah, I don't post anything.
The voyeur.
I do it so I can follow my kids a little bit.
David's an active social media user.
You are?
Yes, I am.
A lot of information out there.
My favorite follower, Lana Del Rey. That's right. You don't even know who she is, do you?
No.
Chopped up the middle. Chisholm. We'll get Mountcastle.
The singer. Musician.
What kind of music?
Good music. Pop. Although she's got a little country version out. Everybody's going country now. Country's
where it's at.
Country, yeah. Country's cool.
Cowboy Carter.
Yes.
Here's Kerstad. Inside, 1-0. Right in front of the plate. Yarborough works a 1-2-3 inning. And the answer to the question, Joe, is my wife is my most important follower.
Very good, Michael.
Prevagen, made for your brain. This is supposed to be an easy one. 276, 97 home runs, 285 stolen bases. The Orioles, for the bulk of his career, finished up with the Yankees in 2014. And you managed him, Joe.
Yes, I did.
Montefiore Einstein, 4-0 Orioles. Urias leads off against Yarborough. Pitch outside, 1-0.
It's amazing what deception does. Guy throwing 85 is throwing his fastball by you. It's absolutely amazing, and you feel like you have so much more time, but because you have to deal with a changeup that's 70 and breaking ball that's 70.
It's what they call below hitting speed. Average Major League fastball is about 94 miles an hour nowadays. So if you're throwing the ball consistently in the 80s and 70s, it's below hitting speed.
Swing and a miss. Urias down on strikes. Yarborough doing a nice job restoring order and eating up innings.
That's a really good changeup, Coney, and turns it over and it has that late fade to it.
He missed that by 3 feet. He was so far out in front of that.
People would say something like that, and I would say, is there something wrong with that? It's happened before.
Jackson Holliday with a fly ball to left. Bellinger puts it away.
He didn't really keep his lower half into that swing. There was a little bail on that.
2 down. Here's Laureano. A couple of doubles for him.
So we're almost through the month of April. If you were to guess what the offensive numbers collectively in the American League were, batting average, on base, slugging, OPS, what would you think it would be? What would your guess be?
Okay, I would say the batting average is 240. The on-base percentage is about 308, and the slug is about 400. How am I?
Pretty close. Batting average 236 so far.
Okay.
The OPS collectively in the American League 691 on base plus slugging.
So I had it about 708.
691.
That's amazing.
So when you're looking up and down lineups and you see anybody that's in the 700s, you're above average in the American League this year.
I could have played in this era.
So with those stats, David, it kind of indicates that Judge might be having a good year.
That's what's so remarkable is how in a challenging era to hit because of the pitching, that the outliers like him, well, he is the outlier. It just makes it all the more remarkable how much above average he is. When you try to compare generation to generation, it's so hard, but you compare to, that's what WAR is all about. You try to put some context into the numbers. How much better than average are you?
Foul ball grabbed by Peraza.
How much better than you'd be than a replacement player?
And this is the Yankee offense, second in runs per game. Tied for first with the Dodgers in home runs, second in average, 262. And their OPS is 816.
Well, if their OPS is 816, they're carrying a lot of those teams that are 691. Because they're well over it.
Strike 3. An impressive performance by Ryan Yarbrough. We'll go to the 7th. Yankees down by 4. Well, let's check out the T-Mobile coverage cam.
Yeah, this is a ball that looks like it's going to be the second home run for Goldschmidt, but Cedric Mullins times his leap perfectly and robs this home run for the third out in the 5th inning game. If it's 4-2, then if it's 4-0.
Ford scoreboard says it's 4-0. Dominguez batting from the right side against Aiken, takes a pitch inside. 1-0. Dominguez from the left side, 1 for 2 today.
Coney, you were talking about that average OPS in the American League at 691. When you look at Dominguez, I mean, he's well over 800 from the left side, hitting 8th in this lineup. He has a chance to do a lot of damage. It's this side that has been a little tricky for him. I'm talking about they're working in it all the time. He did have a big hit a couple weeks ago, right-handed, a bases clearing double. If you look at the numbers there, the splits. Man, if he can get that right-handed side going, he's something.
And he continues to struggle from that side as he strikes out.
And I think we forget a lot of times he's only 22 years old.
So the question becomes, as a manager, do you try to protect him a little bit and do more of a platoon, or do you just keep giving him reps and hope that he figures it out from the right side?
Well, I think because he's young, you keep giving him reps right now. You're in first place, and you can afford to do that. And I'm not so sure you have that platoon guy.
Well, that's going to do it for Aiken. He retires all 4, striking out 3. And Neil Cano's coming in. Well, fans, the Gotham Sports app is your new home for streaming live Yankees games and so much more. And it's free with an eligible TV provider subscription. Download the Gotham Sports app now or visit GothamSports.com to get streaming. Oswaldo Cabrera is going to pinch hit for Peraza against the righty Cano. So the numbers on Cano, who's always been dominant but seems to struggle against the Yanks.
Definitely tougher on righties with his release point.
He's also added a cutter this year, which is not something he throws. It's the opposite of a sinker, and they can, you can kind of tunnel those two pitches together. But he talked about how learning the cutter this year added a lot of movement to his slider. His slider used to break like 6 or 7 inches horizontally, and I want to know why. But adding and working on the cutter, now it's 12 to 15.
Sometimes the grips mesh into each other, the release points do, and they can kind of merge, and you end up with the...
But it was almost like the cutter helped him get a lot more break on his slider, he said.
Yeah, if that's what he's looking for. Yes, it can. Absolutely.
Well, he's reunited with his buddy Felix Bautista. Missed last year Tommy John surgery. He's back. 2 good changeups. So Bautista's called the mountain, and Cano's called the rock.
Can you imagine a changeup being 92 miles an hour? That was a good heater back in the day.
3-2 on the pinch hitter Oswaldo Cabrera.
We've got different classifications for sliders and sweepers now. You kind of need different classifications for changeups. It's definitely a power changeup.
I think first one I remember having that was Felix Hernandez.
3-2. Chop toward third, going to be a very tough play. Urias fields, fires, and the throw gets past Mountcastle and into foul territory. So Cabrera with a hit and an E5, and he's on second base, nobody with 1 man out.
Urias, who had a Gold Glove in 2022, has to go a long way, and Mountcastle tries to leave the bag in time to get to the ball, but he just can't get there. It's so far off towards the outfield that he's in a dead sprint and still can't get to it.
Ill-advised throw.
Yeah, it's one of those you just got to say, I'm going to eat it. I don't have a chance. But if he's accurate, I think it's a bang-bang play. Just such a hard play.
So here's Grisham. He's 1 for 3. Singled to right center his last time up. Gregory Soto warming up. 4-0 Orioles. Yankees trying to climb back. Judge is on deck. Runner at second, 1 man out. 2-0. And there's a base hit through the right side. Cabrera held up. And he is held up at the last moment there by Rojas. He took a big, hard turn around third. And Rojas threw up the hands.
Yeah, Rojas does a good job because it looks like he's going to go here. He's got his head down and doesn't pick him up. He's waving and stop, 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 stop. You got to get back. Good job by Laureano to get to that ball quickly, or Kjerstad to get to that ball. He's got a really good arm in right field. And now all of a sudden the Yankees are in business again. 1 swing of the bat. We got a tight game here, Coney.
Yeah, you got to hold him up at third here.
Yeah.
And it was a late hold, but good job by Cabrera picking it up and staying. You can't take a chance there. Not with this guy up.
Judge 2 for 3. Couple singles and a strikeout. Orioles play back for the double play. Judge broke a 9-game homerless streak yesterday against the Blue Jays. But as we mentioned yesterday, although the homers haven't been coming, but the base hits continue to come. The average continues to rise. Turned 33 years old on Thursday.
Judge has just gotten better and better at anticipating the flow, how they're going to pitch him. Chasing less, getting good pitches to hit.
Ground ball, third. Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. On to first. Not in time. Cabrera scores. It's an RBI for Judge. Yankees on the board. It's 4-1.
And that's what Cano is so good at doing, at getting ground balls. He's gotten a couple this inning, and fortunately for him, they were in the hole. But this one is right at Arias, and he's very quick to turn it. He makes a really accurate throw. He gets behind it, and he's ready to throw it as soon as he catches. Holiday makes a good, strong throw, but Judge is just too fast. And it bounced enough. It wasn't like one of those low skimmers, and you see him hustling down the line.
Well, that's going to do it for Cano. They'll call on the lefty Soto to face Bellinger when we get back. Yankees baseball on Yes, brought to you in part by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. By Nissan. At Nissan, we make cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. And by Untuck It, find the perfect fit today at untuckit.com or more than 80 stores worldwide. So Gregory Soto comes on to face Bellinger. Bellinger 1 for 2 with a walk. Those are the numbers on Soto. 10 strikeouts in 9 2/3 innings with 5 walks.
He's got a fastball that I really believe he has a hard time getting it on the third base side for strikes, and a lot of them are going to run up and into Cody Bellinger. Can't be a real comfortable at bat. He's got a pretty good slider. I mean, this is a guy that had 30 saves in Detroit a few years ago.
And he gets Bellinger to ground to Holiday, and that will do it. Yankees get on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 man left. It's time for the stretch in Baltimore.
Time for your Ford Studio Update. Bob and Flash with you. Game you talked about, that big Sunday. Take it into today. They eked out a run, but they're looking for more.
Yankees had so much offensive momentum coming into this game, and you look at the numbers for Sagano. Not a strikeout pitcher, didn't throw very hard. Well, he threw harder tonight than the Yankees expected. He struck out 8. Yankees have to make a comeback. It's going to be against the bullpen. Bullpen not great for Baltimore. 24th in Major League Baseball. It'll be an exciting finish.
We will see what happens, and we'll see you on the postgame with Jack Curry, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. 4-6-1 for the Orioles, 1-7-0 for the Yanks. Warren lasted 1 out into the 4th. Yankee offense 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 8 left on base. Sugano pitched well. Ryan O'Hearn, the difference in the game, that 3-run home run. Yarbrough's still out there, and Mullins fouls it back. Taking over at third base, Cabrera, pinch hit for Peraza, scored the Yankee run in the top of the inning. Grounded up the middle, a base hit. Mullins on base 3 times tonight.
Tony, you talked about him getting the head of the bat so far out front, and this is not easy to hit a sinker that's inside for a lefty because they don't see a lot of them, but you see the head of the bat out front around his front foot where he makes contact, and that's why he's able to hit it through the hole. We saw what happened to Kjerstad. He got eaten up inside because he tried to hit it too deep, and you can't do that.
Ian Hamilton getting ready for the Yanks. Gunnar Henderson tries a drag bunt, misses, 0-1. Let's check out the bullpen budget brought to you by Citizens. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Doubleheader yesterday, so 5 pitchers were used. They're all available, you would think. Probably like to stay away from Cruz, but I think he could go 2 days in a row. Yarbrough has thrown 45 pitches tonight, so he's not a go tomorrow for sure. Runner goes. Ball fouled away.
Yeah, Cedric Mullins, 0-2 count, maybe thinking that he's going to get that slow breaking ball that would be tough to throw him out on, and he got a pretty good read and a good jump. He's 5 for 6 in stolen bases, so can't forget about him. I mean, this is a big run from the Orioles. You always wanted to have where Grand Slam couldn't beat you. It's always what I thought about as a manager. So it's 4-1. They would love to tack on 1 or 2 more.
One and two. Adley Rutschman on deck.
Yeah, how many times did you see Mariano Rivera warming up and then you'd sit him down when you got that extra run?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's harder, though, a lot of times to manage that 9th inning in the closer now today because of the 3-batter minimum. So you got a 4-run lead, and you bring in a reliever, and he gives up a walk, a base hit, and a home run, and there's 3-batter minimum, and now it's a 1-run lead.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yeah, where if back in the day, if the first 2 guys got on, you're probably bringing in your closer and not giving him the chance to face that 3rd guy. So it becomes harder to manage.
Joe is not a fan of that.
Never, and never will be.
2-2. Nobody out here in the 7th. 4-1 O's. This could be 2. Volpe steps on the bag, goes to first, double play.
Yeah, another ground ball that he hits pretty hard, but he hits it right at Volpe, and that's been the frustrating part for Henderson this year. Is over 50% of his balls he's put in play have been on the ground, and it's led to not the power numbers that he's used to having. My guess is he'll get that figured out, though.
Yes. Too much talent.
You just don't want him to figure it out before you leave town.
How about the job Yarborough's done tonight?
Yes.
Yeoman's work. I don't know what that word means. I heard Tim McCarver say it once. Yeoman's. I don't know what a yeoman is.
Great Tim McCarver.
1 out away from pitching 3 2/3 of scoreless baseball. There's a base hit off the bat of Rutschman. Bellinger fields on a hop and gets it in. Double play looms large.
Yeah, it does, and you would expect this would be his last hitter with Mountcastle on deck, the right-hander. I'd like to get him through this inning for sure.
And a strike O'Hearn. The 3-run home run in the 3rd off of Warren. 1 for 3. That's the difference in the game right now. Made it 4-0. Yankees just got a run in the top of the 7th. The first Oriole run scored on the RBI double by Laureano, scoring Jackson Holiday. That was in the 2nd. The 3-run home run came in the 3rd.
Coney, you're a pretty good hitting pitcher, left-handed. How would you do against that breaking ball?
Not good. I don't want any part of that whiffle.
Grounded to Chisholm, gets a nice hop. And that's going to do a great job by Yarborough. We'll go to the 8th inning. Yankees down by 3. Well, this Copperhead telecast, presented by authority of the New York Yankees, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Yarborough getting much-deserved high fives in that Yankee dugout, kept it right where it is, and saved the bullpen.
Yeah, an outstanding job. I mean, that's what a long man is supposed to do. It's given the Yankees a chance to come back, and I mean, they're a couple feet away from being 4-3 in this game with the ball that Goldschmidt hit.
Goldschmidt tries to go in front of Mullins. This time it works. So a leadoff single for the Yankee first baseman.
Well, you know that Soto has that good fastball, and this one is center cut, about belt high, right down the middle, and he just hits a good line drive. You see the head stay down through the ball. Good extension. How long that head stays down, Coney.
There's Jazz Chisholm. Hit by pitch, struck out twice. That one gets past Rushman. Goes all the way to the screen as Goldschmidt goes to second on the wild pitch.
How come he drew out that wild, Michael?
Because it was really wild.
Coney, how do you hold that one?
Wow. How do you block that one?
Well, today they try to pick him. Oh. Called it again. It's a brave soul back there.
Soto is 30 years old. Deadline trade last year from the Phillies to the Orioles for Seth Johnson and Moises Chase. But since the deal, he struggled. 4.61 ERA in 34 games with Baltimore. Strike.
He's got really good stuff. I don't think he has great command of his fastball. I mean, he'll get it up to 98. A lot of times it leaks back across like the first base side. Sometimes he tends to walk a few too many people to get him in trouble, but he's got really good stuff. I mean, he's 30 saves in Detroit.
Just missed. Or did it? Not according to that box. But according to Ryan Wills, it did.
It's all about where the catcher sets up and how far he has to move to go get it.
I mean, he's not even close to being on the plate.
Three and two on Chisholm. Goldschmidt's at second. Nobody out here in the eighth. Swing and a miss. Chisholm strikes out again. 3 strikeouts for the Yankee second baseman.
Well, the last place you're looking is down the middle. I mean, he's thrown one 58 feet. He's thrown one way outside high. He's all over the map, and he throws one right down the middle. It's the last thing you're looking for.
But he lost his lower half early, and that was on a fastball. I mean, it's kind of a strange swing there.
Volpe takes inside. Anthony is 0 for 3 tonight.
I tell you what, it's so hard to do, but as a catcher, when you're catching someone like this, I mean, you saw that slider, how far inside it was. You have to tell yourself to relax more, but your tendency is to tense up. But you got to be really relaxed so you can move anywhere.
Line down the right field line. It is a fair ball. It'll go into the corner. Goldschmidt scores easily. Volpe with a birthday RBI double, and it's 4-2 Orioles.
Yeah, and another extra base hit, Michael. 4 in the last 4 games, and it's great to see Volpe again. And I talked about early in the pregame the importance of him using the same field and keeping that hip in there long enough so he can do that. See him talking to the ball, get down, get down, get down. I mean, he lets this ball travel, gets deep, swings right through it, and hits this double down the right field line.
Pure. That's not slicing all that much. That was driven.
Yes. Just an outstanding swing from the birthday boy.
18 ribbies now for Volpe. Here's Wells. 0-1.
I mean, you do the math. He's on pace to drive in about 100 runs. That's a really good year from a shortstop that plays really good defense.
And you see teams, why they bring in left-handers out of the bullpen for the Yankees late in the game. You're neutralizing Chisholm. You have to deal with Volpe. They think they neutralize Wells. They get Dominguez to turn around to the right side. Two and one. Orioles have 3 lefties in the bullpen, and I'm sure the Yankees will see all of them a couple of times in the series. Devin Williams is up. And Devin has been removed from the closer role for now. And when asked today, how do you think you're going to get him right. Aaron Boone said, I don't really have a set plan. I'm going to get a feel for when I could bring him in, but they bring him in here in the bottom of the 8th. It's a pretty close game. That one is looped in the right center field. It's a base hit. In fact, it's going to split the outfielders and go to the wall. Volpe scores easily. Wells stops at second with an RBI double, and the Yankees are down by just 1.
Really good piece of hitting by Austin Wells. This is just a hanging slider. You call them cement mixers sometimes. And he leaves it up where he can drive it, and look at him go into that, down into his back leg, so he doesn't go forward and splits the gap. And he was thinking 3 because it kind of stuck under the wall. See, Volpe was going to go back and possibly tag, but he can score easy if he knows it's down in the gap. And then Wells is thinking 3 out of the box, and he knows that.
Easy, big fella. Easy. Whoa, whoa, Nelly. Whoa, whoa.
If there's one little fumble with the baseball, he's going to third, and that's how you have to approach it. It was what Don Zimmer used to always tell you. When you hit the ball and it's a for sure double, you got to be thinking 3. I mean, that's the bottom line, is what you have to think, an extra base, because then if there's a fumble, you'll make it easy.
Yeah, with 1 out too. So
yeah, I mean, that'd be big to get to third base.
Some solid contact off of Soto this inning. We got 106 off of Goldschmidt's bat, 107 off of Volpe, and 107 off of Wells. So 3 straight bullets.
About 108 out of Dominguez will keep it going up.
Well, Drew Frontz, the pitching coach, just had a long conversation with Soto.
And we've talked about the struggles that their starting pitching has had, where they were 28th in all of baseball. Their bullpen is 24th. And there's a lot of good arms on there. There's 4 or 5 guys that throw 97, 98. Good outfield arms. Laureano is really good. Kjerstad is really good. Mullins is accurate. It's harder to throw someone out of center field, but they have good arms. But they're pretty deep out in the outfield, where I would think it would be hard, unless it's a ball that's questioning if it's going to be caught, that you won't score if you're Austin Wells.
2 runs in. Runner at second, 1 man out. 1-0 count on Dominguez. 2-0.
.97-mile-an-hour fastball in the dirt.
How's your personality as a manager watching this right now? The 1-run lead.
Not great, but my personality as a catcher is probably even worse. I mean, you're throwing your fastball in the dirt.
And he drops in a breaking ball, backdoor for a strike. Wells is getting a huge lead at second base.
Yeah, I mean, Soto's not paying much attention to him, probably trying to figure out how he's going to get Dominguez out, and he's can't forget about the base runner.
3-2 on Dominguez. Yankees down 4-0 at one point. Now it's 4-3, the tying run in scoring position in the 8th. Oswaldo Cabrera's on deck. Did he go? Yes, he did. Would have been a ball, but he could not hold up. So Dominguez down on strikes, 2 away.
Yeah, this ball's running into him. He tries to check his swing, and it's, I mean, I think it's out there. It's so tough when these guys throwing 97 and speeding you up. You're going to see him probably, yeah, I think he went Coney.
Yes.
So here's Cabrera, pinch hit in the 7th, got a hit. That one is grounded foul. Has quietly put together a good start to a season. 288. Home run and 8 ribbies. Big ribby out there at second base right now.
Yeah, not a whole lot of at-bats right-handed. Big spot.
Ground ball. Urias grabs and gets Cabrera, and that'll do it. But the Yankees inch closer. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
I mean, with the way things have gone recently, it's not really a shock to me, you know. Being the closer is a position you have to earn, you know, and you have to keep earning it to continue to be in that role. So lately I haven't been doing that.
Are you disappointed?
I mean, yeah, it's disappointing, you know. You work for years to get to that point, and yeah, to have that taken away from you, it's not a fun feeling at all. But I can't say it's undeserved.
Tell you what, he handled himself great right there, and that was after Boone, before Game 1, said it. This was after Game 2, and met the media, and he was very frank and, you know, didn't try to pass the buck at all. And he comes in now in a pretty big situation, certainly not a low leverage situation.
No, 4-3 in the 8th inning is not a low leverage situation against a team that you've been fighting for the division the last 2 years. So, I mean, the big thing for him is getting ahead, and that's where he struggled. I mean, you see the rotation on his fastball because of his shoulders. He's not throwing it over the plate. He's throwing it outside, but there's a good one up in the zone. I mean, he's had so much success with his 4-seamer, and this is a year that is got knocked around in his changeup as well. He will get back on track, I believe.
Well, they're calling it count leverage because he's not throwing strikes. He does not have count leverage, and that makes the changeup a little less effective. When he's down 2-0 or 3-1, you want to be ahead, make them think a little bit.
You know, pitching mechanics are a lot like hitting mechanics. When hitters pull off of the ball, the same thing happens to pitchers. He's getting a little too rotational at times.
Swing and a miss. Got him on the change.
If you throw enough fastballs for strikes, then you'll get these kind of swings on your best pitch.
Yeah, and if they can't sit on a pitch, in a sense, like if you're 2-0 and 3-1 all the time, you're gonna guess fastball, and if you get it, you're probably going to hit it. But when you're ahead in the count, they can't sit on anything. And this is a young man that really struggles with changeups. A good one to break out to him.
Changeup misses.
But I also believe, I don't know what you think, you got to be able to throw a strike with your changeup early in the count and then expand later once you're ahead. You can't expand right away.
You know, you get the sense talking to Boone that they expect him to be the closer again.
Oh, yeah.
That his stuff would dictate he's going to be a dominant pitcher. Last year when they removed Clay Holmes from that spot, you didn't expect Clay Holmes to get the job back. Fouled away, 1-2.
I mean, just by being able to throw that changeup for a strike in that situation when he's behind 1-0, you see how late Kerstad was on that fastball. Really late. And it's not 100. I mean, it's good, 94, 95, but it's not 100.
Two and two.
I mean, look at the earned runs that those are seasons. 15 in a season, 13 in a season.
3-2.
There's a prime example. A hitter pulling off the ball. Here's an example of a pitcher pulling off. When you miss arm side up and away, then you're flying open. You're getting too rotational. You got to hold it in there. You got to stay sideways a little longer.
I remember one time I ran out and told you, Coney, you're flying open. You told me to shut up and go back and catch.
Think I don't know that? I know what I'm doing wrong.
Swing and a foul ball. You see the separation between the change and the fastball is about 10 miles an hour. That's a big variance. That's why he's so effective.
And the movement, the late dive on it helps him out.
You know, for me, the complimentary pitch for Devin Williams with that great changeup, especially to lefties, it's a fastball in the inside corner. If you can dot that inside corner, you're going to get some looking strikeouts.
Ground ball, Goldschmidt. And he flips to Williams for out number 2.
It's kind of been the same theory for 100 years. It's hard in, soft away. His soft away is as good as anybody's in the game when it's right. It's the hard in part that I think is the perfect complement to him. If he can dot that four-seamer on the inside corner and then throw his changeup whenever he wants.
See Bautista warming up. He's the closer for the Orioles. He's going to face the top of the Yankee order in the 9th inning. Upstairs with the fastball to Urias.
So basically what happens there is your lower half gets in front of your upper half.
Yes, your arm is late. Your arm is late.
Popped up. Shallow right, backing up Goldschmidt. He's there. Goldschmidt puts it away for the final out. Strong 1-2-3 inning for Devin Williams to the Yankees rally in the 9th. It's time to name that Yankee. Joe, you managed him. You want to give the answer?
I heard him broadcasting the other day for the Baltimore Orioles. Brian Roberts.
Just that one season with the Yanks. Had a nice career with the Orioles. Yeah, he could play. A little pop, could run.
One of the smartest base stealers I ever managed or was around, and he was a really good defender as well, and switch hitter, really good player.
14 big league seasons, hit .237 that season with the Yanks, 2-time All-Star, 05 and 07. All right, so the Yankees will try to rally now against Felix Bautista. 2 runs allowed in 7 innings this season, and he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Hard throwing right-hander. 29 years old.
This is a real save. Top of the order. Got to go through Judge.
Yeah, his fastball has been down a few ticks. I mean, he was up. See, Dylan Carlson comes in and takes over in left field. Laureano moves to right field. He was anywhere from 98 to 102. His max speed this year has been 98. And they call this a sinker, Coney. I don't see anything sinking about this. I really don't.
From right over the top, too.
Yeah. Hasn't given up a run in his last 5 outings. A little walk problems. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. His pitches is split, though.
Way up there on the pop-up, left side. Henderson, 1 out. So that'll bring up Judge. Bautista had been out since August of 2023. Tommy John surgery, plus an additional elbow surgery with a debridement and ulnar nerve transposition. So he's gone through it. There's Judge, 2 for 4. There's a strike. Judge a couple of singles and drove in a run on a ground ball. He has 1 home run against Bautista and 2 at-bats. Yankees are down 4-0. They've closed to within 1. They have 2 outs to go here in the 9th to try to make up that difference. Urias deep at third, about 8 feet off the line. To a splitter. Dropped in for a strike, 1 and 2.
Yeah, 3 pitches, a fastball, a slider, and a split.
Down and away, that was nasty.
Yeah. Best pitch might have been the first pitch to hit. So Judge is going to try to break his rhythm a little bit, call timeout.
One-two. Just got a piece to stay alive on the splitter. Judge has 8 home runs and 28 runs batted in. Swing and a miss. He got him on the splitter. Yankees down to their final out. All right, Coney, let's take a look at the pitch-by-pitch and how Bautista got judged.
Well, Joe called it. The first pitch is the best one. Fastball down the middle. Oh, slider down in the dirt. A really good splitter down and away for a called strike, and then down and in with the same splitter twice. Second one works.
Coney, that's the one that's so hard for right-handers to hit, too. The one that not only goes down, but it goes into you, because you're not expecting that. You're expecting the tumble, but not the run as well, and that's just such a difficult pitch to hit.
There's Bellinger. Last chance saloon for the Yankees in the count 1-0. Goldschmidt on deck. Take a look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by your local Tri-State Buick dealers. 2 more games in Baltimore, then back home for a 6-game road trip, a homestand against the Rays and the Padres. The 2-0 to Bellinger. 3-0. Tomorrow night coming up after the game, we're going to have the post-game show with Flaherty and Curry and Lorenz, and we'll also hear from Meredith with the manager, Aaron Boone. There's a strike, 3-1. Bellinger would like to do damage on this pitch, otherwise pass the baton to Goldschmidt. Popped up. Long run for Oriole in foul territory, and he runs out of room. So now it'll be full count. Bellinger 1 for 3 with a walk today. 2 home runs on the season. Most of the crowd standing. Bautista deals the payoff. Swing and a miss on the fastball, and the Yankees go down in order against Bautista, and the Orioles hold on and win this one 4-3.
Well, Bautista doesn't have the 102, but he still has 98 at the top of the zone. It's just too much for Cody Bellinger to catch up to, and when you have to guard against 98 up and that 89, 90-mile-an-hour splitter down, he's a tough combination.
Yeah, when he's throwing the ball like this, he's as good as anybody. Baltimore missed him last year, and they welcome him back this year.
Yankees scored 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, but their comeback falls short. They lose the first game of this 3-game set. We'll come back with awards in the postgame after that. Time to take a look at the Optimum Don't Take Slow for an Answer replay.
Well, this is one of those matchups that you pay to see. I mean, really, you got a mountain on the mound and a mountain in the batter's box, and 2 large human beings going at it. Bautista is going to get the better of Judge here because of that splitter. Down, go with it again. This one dives down and in. Big at bat. What you pay to see. Bautista wins that round.
Cadillac Drive, the game is a difference in the game, Joe.
Well, it was Ryan O'Hearn on a 2-2 sweeper with runners on first and second. Hits this 3-run homer in the 3rd inning to make it 4-0. His 5th homer of the year, and the Orioles never look back.
Orioles win the first game of this 3-game set, 4-8-1, beating 3-10-0. Time of the game, 2:46. Sugano pitched well. Bautista with the save. Warren the loss. Judge was 2 for 5. Sugano won 5 innings and struck out 8. Coming up on the Yes Network, stay tuned for the WB Mason postgame show with Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry, and John Flaherty. Special thanks to producer Troy Benjamin, director Dan Barr, Mike Webb. The executive producer of the Yes Network is Jared Ames Bosnack. Join us again tomorrow as the Yankees continue this series at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Coverage begins at 5:30 on Yes, with first pitch coming shortly after 6:30. Again, the final score, the Orioles 4 and the Yankees 3. For David Cohn, Joe Girardi and Meredith Marakovitz. I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. Now let's go to Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry, and John Flaherty. We're standing by in our Yes Network studios with the post-game show. Guys?
Hey, everybody, it's great to have you with us here on the W.B. Mason postgame. Bob Lorenz, John Flaherty, Jack Curry with you. 1-3 in the books at Camden Yards, and the Orioles win it 4-3. They score early. Yankees score late, trying to rally, but Jack couldn't get enough traction early against Tomoyuki Sugano. What did you see there? Hyundai opening comment.
I would describe this as an irritating loss for the Yankees because of what you just said. They couldn't figure out Sugano. He came into this game as not being a strikeout pitcher. He ends up striking out 8. He got 17 swings and misses. And then on the Yankee side of things, I think Will Warren had good stuff tonight, but he got himself in trouble with a couple of walks. And then after trying to get O'Hearn with a couple of changeups, he leaves a sweeper in a spot that O'Hearn takes it out of the ballpark. And the Yankees tried to come back from that 4-0 deficit. They did mount a rally and get it to within 1 run, but left the potential tying run on base in the 8th.
Jack, this is one of those games as a hitter. You go through a hitter's meeting, and we detailed all of the numbers on our pregame show. Sugano doesn't strike out a lot of people. He also doesn't walk a lot of people, and he throws 92 miles an hour. I'm sure some of the Yankee hitters were saying, wait a second, he was throwing 95 miles an hour, had a little bit more on the heater, and he pitched exactly the way the scouting report would say. He doesn't give in fastball counts, throws all of his off-speed pitches for strikes, but the splitter was better than I think the Yankees expected. The velocity was a little bit better, and they say the first time seeing him, he got us for 5 innings.
Yeah, teams batted over 300 against that splitter. Not tonight, not the case. It was a better pitch. He's the optimum player of the game. Sugano, as we take a look at it. Flash, you said it right from the outset. We're starting to see those low to mid-90s.
Yeah, you're going to see Goldschmidt in the first inning gets overpowered with a 94-mile-an-hour heater up in the zone. Here's Dominguez. There's that split you were talking about down. Then it's Peraza. He gets caught looking at the two-seamer.
Yeah, we're going to see Sugano is just going to keep on going here. He gets Grisham swinging over the splitter. Then Goldschmidt. Look at the movement on that splitter, tailing inside. Chisholm goes down on 3 pitches. Guess what? That was a splitter as well. Austin Williams, Wells can't lay off of it. And then finally, guys, it's Aaron Judge swinging over that splitter. That's as good a splitter as the Yankees have seen from an opposing pitcher all season.
6 strikeouts on the split, 8 strikeouts overall for Sugano. And, Jack, we mentioned this on the pregame. Of all his 6 pitches, there's a pretty even split between all of them, but he relied heavily on 4, including the sweeper and the splitter, to get some big outs.
Yeah, that splitter was deadly. We just showed you the reason why. And you talk about game planning and scouting for a pitcher. I'm glad Flash talked about what the Yankees said before the game. Let's go all the way back to spring training, though. There was a night game for the Yankees in spring training against the Orioles in Sarasota. Most times when you have a night game in spring training and involves travel, you're not going to take your veterans player. Knowing that they were going to see Sugano, the Yankees loaded up in that game, so several of their players had seen Sugano in spring training, but it didn't manifest with any great results tonight because the splitter he had in spring training wasn't the one he flashed tonight.
Yeah, in spring training, obviously, it's a different animal, but it's an interesting fact that they sent over some of their regulars to get a look at him. But there are always outings like this as a lineup where you have to self-evaluate, say, was it the pitcher against us tonight or was it us? I would say it was the pitcher against them tonight. Again, a lot of off-speed pitches, but there were not a lot of off-speed pitches in the middle of the plate. A good curveball that he was able to backdoor. We talked about the split and just enough velocity on the fastball. I think the Yankees are saying, we'll look forward to facing him again, but he got us tonight. When we get another look at him, it's probably going to be a different story.
Reminds me of something you said on the pregame about them facing Kevin Gausman in that 1 inning he threw 53 pitches. They let him make all the mistakes out of the zone and took the walks. Tonight, they weren't able to do that.
They fouled off a lot of pitches against Gausman as well. That didn't happen with Sugano. You talk about a pitcher being able to dictate what was going to happen in the at-bat. He did that. And, Bob, we mentioned on the pregame how the splitter, though he throws it more than any other pitch, had that batting average of over 300, as you said. That looked like a quality pitch tonight. It looked like a guy who really was fired up to face the Yankees. And you look at how the season has been a disappointment for the Orioles. They They're very lucky that have Sugano in their rotation. The rest of their starting pitchers have an ERA of over 6. He's actually been a godsend for a team that's dealing with some injuries.
Let's turn our attention to Will Warren now getting the ball tonight. It's our pitching decisions presented by Sage. And Flash, he got himself out of a nice jam bottom of the first with runners at second and third and 1 out.
Yeah, and it's going to be O'Hearn up at the plate, and he's going to be able to get a heater pretty much right down the middle for strike 3. Then it's going to be Mountcastle, who's really struggling early on, that good sweeper down and away, and you see the emotion from Will Warren pitching out of a big-time jam.
So more trouble bottom of the third, though. He'd walk 2 and then faces O'Hearn again.
And again, you're talking about a sweeper in the middle of the plate. O'Hearn gets it over the wall in right field. The home run bothers you, but what bothers you probably more, the 2 walks before that from the young right-hander.
All right, Warren would bounce back, though. Next batter, Jack, it's almost like he put his foot on the gas again.
Yeah, he came back very strongly. Here we're going to see a nice sinker for a strikeout on Kerstad. Urias is the next batter, and he's going to feature a change right on right there. Ends up striking out the side in an inning where the Orioles took a 4-0 lead. And then in the bottom of the 4th, after this Laureano double, we're going to see the Yankees go to the bullpen. Laureano actually ended up stealing a base as well. They turned to Yarborough, who did a really nice job keeping this game close for the Yankees to mount a rally.
So 3 1/3 for Warren, throws 72 pitches, 6 hits, 4 runs. We had mentioned he'd allowed just 5 earned runs his previous 3 starts. But you saw both sides of the coin, right, Flash, with Will Warren. Some really good stuff and some strikeout stuff, and then times where he walks batters and gets in trouble.
You just said it perfectly. I mean, this is the evolution of a young pitcher and the education for a young pitcher at the major league level. You make a mistake down and in or middle into a left-handed hitter with power at Camden Yards, it's going to cost you. But again, I go back to, he's probably going to be looking at the pitch to O'Hearn. I'd be going back looking at the first 2 hitters of that 3rd inning, walking them, getting himself into his own jam, and then you make one mistake at this level, it could turn into a 3-run home run. There is so much to like when you watch Will Warren. The changeup was a big pitch for him tonight. The sweeper, the velocity on the fastball, you're just waiting for it all to come together, Jack, where he starts gaining that confidence.
A couple of starts ago, he lamented how he felt he was trying to be too fine and trying to make every pitch perfect. I think those 2 walks in the 3rd inning were evidence of that, where you're pitching well. Attack these hitters. Go after these Orioles hitters. Do they have some really good hitters in their lineup? Yes. But they had struggled, lost 6 of their last 7, had been absolutely bludgeoned. Once he loses those 2 batters in the walk, he did try to get O'Hearn with changeups, but he missed with 2 changeups. He says, I'm going to try and throw a little wrinkle in here with the sweeper. The problem is it was probably the worst sweeper that he threw all night, and he ends up paying for it.
Well, let's take our first break here on the WB Mason postgame. A lot more coming up. We're going to hear from Aaron Boone as he meets the media, and Meredith Marakovitz talking about this one as the Yanks rally but fall short 4-3. Stick around.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is presented by WB Mason. Get fast free delivery of food service products you need at prices you'll love. Request your free catalog today at WBMason.com. The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit HyundaiUSA.com today.
The Gotham Sports app is your new home for streaming live Yankees games and so much more. Free with your eligible TV provider subscription. Download the Gotham Sports app now or visit GothamSports.com to get streaming. 4-3, Yanks lose the opener. Time to hear from Aaron Boone now in the manager's report, brought to you by Toyota.
Aaron, Sugano really kept the offense quiet there through 5 strikeouts along the way. What was making him so difficult keeping the guys off balance?
I mean, we pressured him. We had some chances and just it couldn't break through on him. I don't think he made the big mistake where, you know, he's got hurt with some slug here in his first few starts, and I didn't really see that miss. You know, he was in and around the edges, and then as he went, I thought his split was really good.
In the bottom of the second, Grisham, typically a fantastic center field. Just did he misread that, or?
Yeah, I think kind of looking at the track of the ball too. I think he thought it was going to fade like Laureano hit it and it was going to slice, but it kind of cut back on him. So I think he just expected it there, and it was kind of cut, so it went more straight over his head.
Third inning, back-to-back walks for Warren, followed by that home run. Just what were you seeing from him in the third?
Yeah, just, you know, I mean, that's a tough part of the order, obviously. So, you know, those walks obviously hurt him, and O'Hearn, you know, put together a pretty good at bat. I thought Will had really good stuff tonight. I thought his changeup was good. I thought his fastball had as good as life as we've seen. But a mistake there around some walks that obviously ends up hurting.
What do you think of Devin's inning?
Yeah, really good. Just liked his look out there. Was aggressive in the strike zone, aggressive with his fastball. I thought every changeup he threw, like, pretty good angle from it over there, and my vantage point into the dugout, like I like the depth on the pitch, but also establishing his fastball and in the strike zone with it.
Why did you feel like that was a good opportunity to get him back in?
I just felt like I liked that spot for him, and you know, hoping he could hold the line there for us, and obviously he did and gave us a chance there. So, but it was good to see him get out there and have a 1-2-3. Just, I thought he had some real good conviction with every pitch he threw.
The reception that he got in the dugout when he came back, how much do you think that helped him and will help?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's hopefully just little things here that kind of just, you know, kind of get your mojo and remind you just how darn good you are at this game, and you know, hopefully it's a step in the right direction.
Some of your young pitchers over the years, you've talked about them needing to get that next level of command. Is that something with Warren that's a work in progress?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I feel like it's been there in some games where it's really been excellent. But again, you know, he's faced some tough lineups here. You know, I mean, Cleveland threw all those lefties at him. This is a tough left-handed lineup that's tough on right-handed pitching. Again, I thought he did a lot of things. Like, even though, you know, it's only 3+ and he gives up the homer, like, there's a lot of good in there. Like, some really good fastball, really good changeup, got some big outs. But again, the 2 walks in that part of the order where you're in the danger zone, and then a mistake. So hopefully he continues to grow from it.
Well, giving up 4 runs in those first few innings got the Yanks behind the 8 ball, but Jack, they had their opportunities as well.
Yeah, we've praised Sagano throughout this show, and he deserves a lot of praise, but you heard Aaron Boone talk about his team having chances against Sagano and not being able to cash in. It started in the first inning with the bases loaded, and Volpe stepped up, and he ended up grounding out in that situation. Then you fast forward to the third inning. They've got a couple of runners on base. Goldschmidt and Chisholm both end up going down on, guess what, striking out on splitters. So when there were opportunities, Sagano was the one who won those duels and made sure the Yankees did not score early.
Yeah, Aaron Boone also talked about his past closer, Devin Williams, getting an opportunity in that 8th inning, feeling like it was the right spot for him, and he loved what he did in that inning. I love the fact that Devin Williams came right out with his fastball and said, I'm going to protect my best pitch, which is a changeup. I didn't think the location was still great with that fastball, but it looked like the attitude was, I'm going to come at you with this pitch and protect my changeup. I still think the location can get better. The guys in the booth talked about it. Not in sync, lower body, upper body. You expect that to get better, but getting through a clean inning, you hope maybe that's the first step back for him.
We have to take another break here on the WB Mason postgame. More coming up, game highlights, more reaction as well, as the Orioles hang on to win 4-3 in the opener. Stick around.
Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Well, stay tuned after the postgame for the latest episode of Sportico Sports Business and see an exclusive interview with Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred. plus a look at the league's highest payrolls and team valuations. That's Sportico Sport Business presented by Genius Sports, coming up after the post-game only on Yes and streaming anytime on the Gotham Sports app. Let's get to the game highlights of the opener tonight. Game highlights brought to you by your local Ford stores. And Jack, things got going bottom of the second. Warren on the mound. Heston Kjerstad leading off the inning.
And Kjerstad is going to hit a 107-mile-per-hour bullet, but Jazz Chisholm says to Warren, I got you. Lays out to make the play, steadies his feet, easy throw for the out.
Here's that play flash that Boone was talking about in the second.
Yeah, Laureano drives this to center field. Trent Grisham, the Gold Glover, just gets caught right there. Just can't come up with it. And a strange miscue from Grisham in center field, and the O's get on the board.
Let's move it on to the bottom of the third inning for our turning point of the game, brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. And again, 2 walks to the first 2 batters of the inning. Jack brings up the cleanup hitter O'Hearn.
Yeah, and this was an at-bat where we saw Warren try to get O'Hearn with changeups, but look at that sweeper. It bends right inside into a spot where O'Hearn can do some damage. A Yankee fan with the catch and celebrating, but no one else in the Yankee universe is celebrating. They're down 4-0.
Top of the 5th, Yanks thought they had a home run against Sagano.
Yeah, runner at first with 2 outs. Goldschmidt up at the plate, drives a high fastball to center field. Mullins goes back right at the wall and really makes that play look easy. Obviously playing in Camden Yards 81 times a year, he knew exactly where he was. Robs Goldie of a 2-run home run.
Could have been a 4-2 game on to the top of the 7th. First and third for Judge, 1 out. Grounds a sinker to third. The Orioles will try and turn 2, but Judge is going to beat the throw. Good hustle. Cabrera's in. Yanks get on the board. It is 4-1. And then Jack, 8th inning, they're going to get another with Volpe at the plate.
Yeah, runner on second, 1 out, and Volpe is going to get a 4-seam fastball from Soto and just go the other way with it. Drill it down the right field line. Celebrates his 24th birthday with an RBI double and cuts the Yankee deficit to 4-2.
And then his buddy Austin Wells comes up next, and why not go for back-to-back doubles?
Yeah, left on left for Wells, and he rips this ball to right center field. That's going to be an easy double, possible triple as Anthony Volpe scores easily. Austin Wells holds up with a 1-out double. Now it's 4-3 O's.
So keeping it a 1-run game put in the hands of Devin Williams, and we heard Aaron Boone talk about him. Nobody on, 2 outs for Ramon Urias, and he's going to pop one out to Goldschmidt. It's shallow right to end the inning. So a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout in Williams' first appearance since losing his closer role. And then in the 9th inning, a couple of the big boys were up, Jack, trying to tie this thing up.
Yeah, and the thing that Bautista did against Judge that helped him is he got ahead in the count quickly, and then he's able to dispatch him with that 1-2 splitter. He fell behind Bellinger, actually, 3-0, but then he fought his way back to 3-2. We talked about the velocity. How about 98 up in the zone? That's the final out of the inning as Bautista saves it for the O's.
Just when you think that sinker, that splitter might be coming, it didn't. It was a fastball up. So the Orioles win the opener 4-3, though the Yankees out-hit them 10-8. Yanks go 3 of 11 with runners in scoring position and leave 9 men on base. Let's take another break. When we come back here on the WB Mason postgame, more on Will Warren, and we'll hear from him about tonight's outing, lasting 3 1/3, giving up 4 runs. Stick around.
Game show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Tri-State Genesis retailers. Learn more at genesis.com.
Great to have you back once again on the post game. Yankees lose it 4-3. The pivotal inning coming in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Will Warren walks the first 2 hitters in the inning, Henderson and Rushman, before giving up that 3-run home run to Ryan O'Hearn. So let's hear from Warren about that in our Genesis Sounds of the Game.
Well, how bothered were you by those 2 walks to start off the 3rd there?
Yeah, I mean, never trying to start off the inning with back-to-back walks. And then obviously O'Hearn did the damage on a pitch that didn't get quite in. So, yeah, sucks.
You talk about that pitch to O'Hearn. Are you okay with the pitch selection, just a matter of location there?
Yeah, I'm good with the pitch selection. I think I need to be a little farther in, and the outcome's probably a little different, but just got to execute pitches.
What do you think caused you to lose your command a little bit to start that inning?
Yeah. I don't know if it was as much of losing everything. You know, I think it's 2 back-to-back long innings. Come out there, just trying to make competitive pitches, miss a little bit outside. I think at the end of the day, you just got to force them, you know, to put the ball in play.
How about the first month of your season overall?
Yeah, I mean, it's been up and down. I think it's been kind of a mix of, like, you have some good ones in there, and then you have the Tampa Bay where, you know, I'm falling behind, get pulled for pitches. Tonight, you know, walk the first 2 hitters in the third. I think overall it's just about attacking in the zone.
Well, no doubt about that. Attacking, and whenever we talk about Will Warren, we talk about confident, aggressive. But when you walk the first 2 batters and you're trying to be too fine, you're getting away from that.
Bob, that comment that Will Warren just made is for every young pitcher who's trying to be a big league starting pitcher, being aggressive in the zone. That you have to prove to yourself time and time again that you can get away with mistakes in the middle of the plate. Will Warren, the numbers bear that out. He gets a lot of swings and misses when he throws the ball over the plate. But there's just that mental hurdle that you have to get over when you're a young pitcher. There's so much stuff there to like. When he pitches out of trouble in the first inning, he's showing some moxie that he can pitch out of some big jams. He's got the stuff to do it.
Yeah, I thought what he did in the first inning was impressive. That game could have been off the rails for him quickly. You go back to that third inning, he threw 72 pitches in this game, and we've talked about it a lot. The pitch he's going to think the most about is the one he talked about there, the sweeper that O'Hearn hit. I understand the logic, and I understand why they went with that pitch. He threw him a sweeper to start off his first at-bat. Then he eventually went hard stuff and struck him out with a fastball. It was about the 11th or 12th pitch that O'Hearn had seen from him. He hadn't seen the sweeper again. It was a perfect time to throw it, but he just didn't execute it. Coming into tonight, guys, he had not allowed a home run at all on the sweeper.
We got to take another break. More coming up here on the WB Mason postgame as we recap the opener. Orioles win it 4-3. Judge with a couple hits in this one. The on-base streak at 25. Saw some nice defense as well. We got more coming up, so stick around.
The Yankees postgame show on Yes is brought to you in part by EEP Law, New York City's powerhouse firm for victims. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires.
Let's take a look at our memorable moments presented by Prevagen, made for your brain. And we go back to the bottom of the second and that great defensive play by Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Yeah, Kerstead leading off the inning, a hot shot. Jazz goes to his right, lays out, and then the easy play to make the throw after that. Usually we see Jazz going to his left, making the athletic plays. Tonight, going to his right.
So good defense there. We saw a nice defensive play by Cedric Mullins off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt as well. Orioles win it 4-3. Now let's talk about the bullpen, and in particular Devin Williams and what he was able to do tonight. Aaron Boone got him, Jack, back out there in a one-run game, and he looked very good, throwing 14 pitches.
And we were all guilty, Bob, of saying they'd use him in low-leverage spots. This is not a low-leverage spot. This is a one-run game. He gets Mountcastle with the changeup. That's another good changeup that Kerstead hits to Goldschmidt. And then finally, Urias is the third batter of the inning, and he gets him to pop up this fastball that Goldschmidt is able to corral in shallow right field. It's a good first step for Devin Williams, for the Yankees to get back to where they believe he needs to be. I think they need to see more of this, but their goal is to have him back as their closer.
And Flash, what'd you think of the changeup versus the fastball? Because you talked about the fastball kind of getting under it maybe, and maybe not a pitch that hitters would necessarily swing at.
Yeah, I didn't love location on the fastball. I love the fact that he was aggressive with it, but the changeup was excellent tonight. We saw the swing and the miss. We saw the weak ground ball to the right side, but you saw the action that he had turning it over down and away. That's a Devin Williams Williams changeup. But you get swings like that when you set a hitter up and you speed him up with velocity, which he did. Again, the location's going to get better, but I thought the whole mindset was, here I come with my fastball, and I'm going to hold my best pitch, a changeup, for when I need it.
By the way, back to that graphic, I do not want Ryan Yarbrough to get lost in the wash here, because you appreciate that as a catcher and as a teammate, knowing he's keeping you right in that game, keeping the Orioles quiet.
He's getting a lot of handshakes in that clubhouse tonight because the Yankees did not win this game, but the Yankees did not blow through their bullpen. They are well rested for the next 2 games. Every guy in the bullpen knows what their role is. Ryan Yarbrough knows exactly what his role is. Usually it's going to be multiple innings. He can get lefties out. He can get righties out. Tonight he was a godsend, keeping it at zeros there in the middle of the game, giving the Yankees a chance to come back. They eventually didn't do it, but he's going to get a lot of handshakes in the clubhouse.
When you have relievers who can come out of the bullpen and give you multiple innings, as you talked about, the value in that for a manager is so vital. Now Aaron Boone can look ahead to tomorrow and have a fresh bullpen. Rodon is on the mound, so they're hoping that he can give them some length, but Yarbrough came in and did a really nice job, faced 13 batters, gave up a couple of hits, walked one, but mostly just subdued the Orioles until the Yankee bats could get percolating a little bit.
All right, you mentioned Rodon taking the mound on Tuesday. When we come back on the WB Mason postgame, we're going to talk about that. He's been really good his last 2 outings. Can he quiet the Orioles? We'll talk about that coming up next.
Is brought to you in part by FanDuel. New customers get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
Let's take a look at the probables for Game 2, courtesy of Nissan. Our coverage beginning on Yes and the Gotham Sports app at 5:30. It'll be Carlos Rodon going up against Kyle Gibson. Gibson was not signed by the Orioles until March 21st, so he threw a few rehab assignments in the minors. He'll make his season debut tomorrow. As for Rodon, Jack, his last 2 outings, no earned runs allowed. He's been getting better and better as his starts progress.
We always talk about Carlos Rodon being one of those stoppers for the Yankees. They need him at the top of the rotation to be someone they can rely on. I thought in his last start against Cleveland, the slider was especially good. He had 5 strikeouts on that pitch. The changeup came along for the ride as well. He didn't allow any hits with that pitch. So after the way the Yankee offense didn't figure out Sagano tonight, they would love for Rodon to do the exact same thing to the Orioles. Shut them down tomorrow night so the Yankees can even up this series.
It wasn't too long ago we were sitting at this desk and you and I were talking about Carlos Rodon. Just eliminate that one mistake in a game where he was giving up a 3-run home run because he was throwing the ball beautifully. What has he done his last 2 outings? He hasn't made that mistake in a big spot. That game you're talking about at Cleveland, got himself in a little bit of trouble in the first inning, was able to maneuver his way out of it, and after that he just cruised and made it look easy the rest of the way. Nothing's really changed except the fact that he's not making one big mistake that's costing him a long ball and maybe costing him a game.
Well, the Yankees rally but fall short 4-3. We look forward to seeing you for Game 2 when our coverage begins at 5:30 with a batting practice show on Tuesday. 6 o'clock pregame, first pitch a little after 6:30. Yankees looking for the bounce back. We look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday night. Until then, take care.